right, everybody, and welcome to another week of big news, big taunting, big games. Welcome to Fourever Rivals. How's everyone going?
Mate, that was a good intro, Rocco. I'm happy with that one. Yeah, what a week. Good to be back. All four rival teams in action.
Yes,
how good.
Yes. I think it's the first week of the year that we're all in action.
Yeah. Good evening to everyone. Good evening, Rocco, Mark, Liam. Good evening to everyone out there. It's sad that not only did they decide to split these rounds, and thank God everyone now is going to be back to normal, but what a pathetic couple of games though. Over the weekend, to be honest with you, I went to bed early. I thought, Jesus, it's just even KO was showing a porno in the middle of the day. I thought, can't do this. So, unfortunately, what's sad is that it was a very bad week as a viewer. If you were an Essendon and Richmond supporter, commiserations. But if you hate those two clubs, you'd be smiling, mate. That was absolutely
a couple of games. Thursday, Friday night game was really good. They were top games, man. The Thursday, Friday night game. But yeah, Richmond and Essendon, they just showed where they're at, really. Welcome, Liam. What do you say about that?
Well, look, I was going to say the opposite. Unfortunately, my team couldn't get the job done, but at least I can always count on Essendon to stuff up. And Carlton and Collingwood didn't play, so I think that's a win for everyone. We don't have to put up with your crap for a week.
That's all right. You had probably 1 million less support viewers because we didn't play.
Nah.
Yeah. And Manny, you're all right. You already started on fire. I'm sure you're ready to shoot a few bullets tonight because it's gonna be a big show. It's gonna be a big show. I think it's gonna be a lot of Essendon talk tonight. I think Essendon probably as low as I've ever seen a team at the moment with the record they're just putting in the last 3 or 4 years, maybe. It's going to be a good show. We've got some good stuff in Forever Footy, the taunting rule. I want to get stuck right into that. And there's all sorts of stuff, But before we say hello to the chat, Marco, how are you, mate? I did send you I did do a welfare check a couple of days ago just to make sure you're okay.
Yeah, good evening, boys, and good evening to the chat. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not going to harsh too much on the game, but a little bit disappointing. Pretty flat at the moment, mate. But hopefully you boys can cheer me up this evening.
We will cheer you up, but you know what's going to cheer us up? The sponsor, Porton Security Doors and Blinds. They never let you down. They never let you out. If you get a cordon security door and blind and you lose the key, that's it. You can never get out of that house again. It's done. It's done. And if someone happens to break in and you lock them in, that's it. They're in there for life, mate. You can lock them in. So, but everyone, I think they're waiting for the best ad in the business. Let's hear it.
If you want your family to be safe, cordon security doors and blinds is the place. Forever Rivals, a bomber supporter and a really top mate. All of your security.
Fantastic.
If you don't sing along to that, you have not got any sort of vibe in your body because you have to sing to that, man. That is superb. Tell us a bit about it, Marco.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Rocco. Thanks once again. And guys, if you're building a new home or renovating, got friends or family out there that are building or renovating, just give us a call on 8339-4848. We're still offering a 10% a discount on your proposal. So get in before things start going up at the moment. So, give us a call, 8339-4848 for a free measure and quote. Don't be afraid. It's only me that's going to come out and see you. I won't hurt you.
100%. I
Not
reckon
yet, anyway.
you're the bonus to get you out there would be the bonus to have a chat to you about the Bombers, mate. There's a few people in the chat already. We got this bloke here, Dylan. Who is this? He's fucking in love with Manny. Manny is the GOAT. He has aura. Look at that, mate. Look at this. And then we've got one of our favourites. Essendon has as much aura as a used heroin there. We're already starting with Essendon. We've got Liam, one of our favourites. Welcome, Liam, mate. 100% aura. We've got Bocek is in there. Let the smackdown on the like buttons. Yeah, make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe. That's what makes us happy, doesn't it, guys? That's all that makes us happy. The likes. We just want to see likes and shares. Let's do that. Oh, yeah, he already knows it. What cop is Mo preparing for? What crap, I suppose. What crap? I don't think there's going to be much crap. We got Matula. We got Magpie Army. Greetings, all. He's in there. He'll be happy this week. See what's going on. We got Blue Bagger. We've got Oz. How are you, mate? Lana. How are you, Lana? We got V Little. I don't know if we've seen this one, but welcome. The Chronicles. He's here. Imagine Rocket intros if Carlton starts winning flags. Don't worry, mate. We'll get there before you two get there. Don't worry. User on the way down, mate. User on the way down. The Rocco Moro, one of our favorites. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Have we got, oh, man, there's a lot of people in there. So we'll get to everyone. Carl's, great sponsor of the channel. Make sure Liparotta Mowing and Gardening Service. Make sure you get into them. All right. I reckon we get straight in. Oh, we got this one here. Another Collingwood supporter. Is this Collingwood? How are we all? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And here he is. Nick. How is the commercial not on Channel 31? Now, first of all, Nick is the owner of Liparotta Garden and Mowing Services. So thanks to him. But he's right. That commercial. I'm telling you, our intro is, first of all, probably one of the best intros going around. If that doesn't pump you up, then we follow with the commercial. Mate, what else do you want? I'll tell you what else you want. We go straight into this one here. Forever footy, that's what we're here. We're talking the big issues, man. And I've got a big issue and I've got a big gripe and I want to get stuck into it. And it might be a bit controversial what my views on this are, but let's bring it straight up, right? Let's bring it up. The new taunting rule. Has the AFL gone too far? Has the AFL gone soft? You know, like this new taunting rule, Patrick Cripps, he got fined, I think it was $1,000 for taunting, for rubbing his hair, calling him bald probably. Apparently, who knows? Maybe there was some other stuff said, but I don't know about that. We don't know what else was said, but definitely about the rubbing of the head. Yes, Manny.
Rocco, first and foremost, before we start talking about the taunting, I actually want to apologise to Marco because I was taunting him heavily towards the end of the third quarter and most of that last quarter. It was pretty bad on my behalf. Rocco did find me, so I did get a fine, ladies and gentlemen. Rocco did find me, which threw me off. But I did send some flowers and some marshmallows to Marco to try and sweeten him up and to apologise. So let's just say that this taunting is getting beyond a joke, if you ask me. Soon enough, we won't be able to say anything. You know, we'll be sitting at the footy, and they'll have to put up something around our mouths. We'll just be sitting there watching the footy and just, I don't understand. It's football. You're meant to release your frustration, but I'll let you guys say what you want to say first. But Marco, I do apologise.
No hard feelings, buddy. No hard feelings. All good, mate. As long as you pay that fine to Rocco, mate, I'm happy.
Yeah, he did. It goes to the end of year footy trip. Yes, he did.
As for the taunting, the conversation we're having a bit about tonight, I look at it in two ways. I look at it how far is taunting? How far do you go? If it's continuously a player's getting taunted, I think they should be fined. It's to me, it's pretty much borderline, nearly bullying, to be honest. But if it's just a quick, tap on the head or a bit of a crybaby factor, you should let it go. But if it's continuously done to a player throughout the game, or a little bit longer than what it really should be, I think it needs to be stopped because it's pretty much, I believe, a bit more of a bullying kind of thing. It's not sledging; it's actually a bit more bullying. So just be mindful of how far you go on your taunting. It's not a massive issue, but if it continuously affects a player during the game, I think that the player needs to be fined. And what Paddy Vice did, I believe, warrants that fine. Okay, so that's my thought about it. Yeah, I think so. I think he went a little bit too far. I think the first time he initially done it, you kind of laugh about it in some ways, but he just kept on doing it. It was ridiculous. You're just continuously picking on someone. Really, grow up. Don't continuously taunt someone. It's pretty much bullying, what I see. Borderline bullying.
All right. First of all, just a couple. We got Andy from the Monday Blues, man. So he'll probably be on tomorrow night too, but also Monday Blues. He says Carlton taunt us every week, for fuck's sakes, and then he follows up with bring bullying back. Now, I think he's a bit joking, but in a way, I'm just going to have my say about it. I come from a different time to a lot of people, right? So if the taunting rule, like how far do we go now? This is my thing, right? How far do we go now? Now, that's taunting, is rubbing someone's head. Now, apparently he said something about his mum. I don't know. That hasn't really come out. Let's go straight to that if he did say something about his mum. How about Patrick just ring him up and they work it out like men, and then we leave it on there? How about that? Why does the AFL have to get involved, right? Second of all, like if it was a real issue, how about he ring him up and they talk like men? How about we do that, right? That's the first thing. Second of all, he's rubbing his head, and now that's taunting. So what's next now? What's next? So you say it's like bullying, and I kind of disagree because this isn't like the workplace. Right, this is a footy match. Part of the footy, and people might say, "Oh, no, it's not part of footy anymore." Well, bullshit. It is part of footy. You got to get people in people's head, And if you can get into people's head by saying, "Hey, mate, you're losing a bit of hair there," or whatever it is, you know what I mean? As long as we don't hit the marks of religious and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean, and sexuality and all that. I think we've all agreed that that's enough. That's gone too far, right? So we've kind of stopped that, right? But this sort of stuff, I don't understand what's going on, right? I think it's ridiculous. I think now it's going to get to a stage where no player can say anything on the ground anymore. You can't even look at it. Even if you're going to look at them a little bit wrong, they're going to get upset about it. Because now anyone, if you say it's bullying, any player can go out there and say, "I've been bullied." Why? Because he said, "I got blue eyes. I don't like having blue eyes." Like how far does it go? Now anything can be taunting, and it's ridiculous that they got involved. The other one I want to talk about was Nick Rewald came out with a comment and saying, "Oh, that was a false toughness by him, Nick Rewald, that by what Voss did. It was a tough, it was a false toughness. That's not being tough." Nick, shut the fuck up. I've said this to you before, man. You give me the shits now, right? You give me the shits now. Patrick Voss, I guarantee, didn't do that to act tough. He wasn't there saying, "Look how tough I am," right? He showed his toughness on the ground by kicking goals and by lifting the player over his head. He showed his toughness. That wasn't about showing toughness. That was just a little bit of getting in someone's head. You don't know what's been said out there. It's about a little bit of getting into someone's head. I don't think now players are getting involved with their commentary. "Oh, this shouldn't happen," and that. Shut up. In your days, you were worse, mate. You were worse in your days, right? Now, I understand that maybe we've gone too far in some things, and we are fixing that. But this, I think now, the AFL has gone too far.
Yeah, I agree, Rocco, 100%. And it's like you said, it's we're sort of growing up in the 70s and 80s, and it's a different sort of it's very different to what it is these days. But I mean, look, I can guarantee you now there isn't a football player senior football player who doesn't see a first gamer come onto the ground, he ain't going to sit there and pat him on the back and say, hey, listen, I wish you all the best today. He is going to torment him so hard. He wants to break him down because he wants to make sure that you're either going to be building strength and durability on the game, or you're going to basically going to fall apart. And that's what it comes down to. Now, I don't know what are these coaches teaching them. For me, it just doesn't make sense. You know, as you said, Rocco, using, religion, race, color, all that kind of stuff. I think that goes too far. That goes way too far. Yeah. But to sit there and torment them in a way where you're going to, get into their skin, but in a smart way, I think there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I mean that's football. Soon enough, as you said, it's going to become one of those things where you smile to the player, the umpire's going to interpret it in a different way, and all of a sudden there's going to be an investigation, another fine here, another fine here, another fine there. If I was playing on the ground and I would tormented the way I tormented Marco over the phone for that hour and a half, mate, they would have fined me my whole salary for the whole year. Yeah, but I never used race, sex, color, anything like that. But I made sure he knew that I knew that his team is shit. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. But it's getting too far. It's getting too far. It is.
I agree. And just quickly before I go to the others, there was this James workshop here. AFL don't care about taunting itself, rather actions that will result in violence, as they want to stamp these actions out of the youth league. I can understand that they want to do things like that. I can understand that, right? But I think what we're doing now is we're building a society, right, that is going to be weak, right? What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, and words will never hurt me. We used to live by those. We used to live by those rules, right?
But we don't now, Rocco.
What?
We don't now, Rocco.
I know, and that's a problem. And look, I don't want to be going to society now. Look what society's turned into now.
To be honest, with Patrick Voss, right? I watched that footage. If I was the opposition and he kept on doing that to me, right? Honestly, that player, mate, is lucky he didn't backhander him, mate, or smash him. Because
how many times did he do it? How many times did he do it?
But he kept on doing it, mate. I'm like, fuck, enough is enough, mate. Do it once or twice. But he kept on rubbing his head like, you're lucky that player didn't, give him an elbow or something. You know what I mean? So it's taunting means that you're continuously doing it. If it's part of when you kick a goal and you run past the player and you grab him by the head and just, how was that, buddy? How was that goal? You move on. They've got to try and stamp it out because, it becomes, ongoing and players will continuously do it throughout the whole game until a player does eventually probably knock somebody out and then he gets weeks for it. So the players should be able to grow up. They're professionals now. They should be able to grow up. If you're going to do a bit of sledging or taunting, just, it should be above the belt and just leave it to that. But
what's above the belt, bro?
Well, just
what's above the belt? Like, I know, like, if I say to you, just say we're playing, right? Or just, and you've got a bald spot and I'm going to you, mate, you look like you're losing a bit of hair there, bro. And you start getting affected by that. Well, so be it, bro. I've got you. I've got you off your game. You know why? Because it's me against you, bro. At the end of the day, it could mean careers. It could mean like maybe your position in the team.
But you're also physically handle you're physically touching somebody as well. You're in their space. You know what I mean? I could call you something, on the other side of the ground. But you're actually physically touching somebody and continuously touching that person. That could be a boundary where you can't step, mate. Because I wouldn't like it if someone kept on doing that to me. I probably would have lost control and whacked them one, regardless if I was a professional AFL player or just playing local footy. So you got to stamp it through.
And then I know I've got you.
Well, but Mark, it's a contact sport.
How far do you go, okay? Well, how far do you keep on taunting that player? Do you just keep on doing it?
It's a contact sport. It's a contact sport. I see elbows. I see elbows. I see jumper punches. That's a contact sport. Yeah. I mean, it is a contact sport. What are you going to do? I agree with what the viewer said. That
it wasn't part of the play, Manny. It wasn't part of the play. It was, it It was after the fact. They weren't actually.
Yeah, it was after the goal. But look, Bocek makes it's a little rub and a cry action. That's what he did. Like, is this what we're stopping now?
No.
It's not like he attacked him. You know, like as I said, there's certain things that maybe we should just keep away from. You know, but all right. So what's next, Mark? This is what I'm saying. You're saying, is there is there going to be a book of rules on what you can and what you can't?
No, I don't think it'll be
say anything anymore.
No, I think they're just gonna. They gave out that fine because they probably thought it was a bit too extreme, and they're just gonna try and stamp it out. That's all it is, mate. I'll guarantee you, a player will still do that, but depending on how far he goes. That's how I see it. Looking at again that footage, to me personally, I think he just went a bit too far. When you're touching somebody on the head and keep rubbing their head, to me, I wouldn't have liked that.
He rubbed him on the head. The crime thing. That's what
have a look at when you boys or anyone in the chat there has got a chance to have a look at the footage. Just have a look at it and see if that was you that he had done it to. I'm pretty sure you would have retaliated. So, you know,
I wouldn't have retaliated. I would have been worried about getting the next possession. Oh, Liam, what do you reckon?
All right, you guys have made a lot of good points, and I've lost my notes, unfortunately. But going on some of this stuff, is the taunting stuff too far? Is it not? I think it's part of the game. We've all played, we've all watched, we all know what goes on. We all know what things are said. Is it the end of the world? Not really. End of the day, it is just a game. I'm not too surprised, though. I've mentioned it before. Woke Dylan, leading the AFL. This is what he does. He's more worried about being politically correct and doing the right thing than just letting us play football, just letting the game be the game. So I'm not surprised that he's done it. Did Pat Boss go too far? I don't really think so. I'd have to double check what Mark is saying and go check the footage. I only saw him pat his head once. I don't know if it happened more. As far as on what sort of reaction you get, I understand. When I used to play, I'd sometimes get talkative to a couple players. It's the mental toughness for him. If Pat Boss knows that he's going to talk to Petty and get that sort of reaction and knock him off his game, he's probably going to do it, right? Like if I could talk to someone and all it's going to take is just tell them like you're bold, blah blah blah, and that knocks them off their game and they start being bad, or they decide they want to get in a scrap instead of playing football, it's good for my game. So I think the mental toughness side is something that the players got to work on. One last point, interesting one. We spoke about this last year. It's another big point. Just comparing some levels here. So we've obviously got what Pat Boss has done this week, and apparently it's now a big thing, and it's made a whole new rule. What about last year when the news about Willie Rioli came out about sending text messages, sending threats after a game? Do you guys remember the punishment for that? It was a little slap on the wrist, a little 1 week, because the media literally forced him into it. I don't know. Again, I think the AFL handles stuff really poorly. Dylan's just worried about doing the right thing. I don't think it's the end of the world.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Yeah. I completely agree. They pick and choose when they want to give a fine, or at the moment, you're right. This is Dylan's wokeness. He wanted to get involved. How about we don't say nothing? How about we just worry about the game, right? Did the player make a complaint?
Oh, that's a good question.
I would assume. On the point that you said about if he said stuff about his mum, but I don't know too much about that, so I'm not going to say for or against either way on that.
I don't know if he made a complaint, but why they get involved? Imagine you said nothing about it. It would have been forgotten about. Fourever Rivals wouldn't have been talking about it today.
Yeah.
Right? We would have been talking about Voss lifting that bloke over his head, how they play, about the games. But no, now we're bringing this to the forefront again. To me, it's always bringing the wrong things to the forefront again. What is this? I don't get this. This mental toughness you were talking about, we're taking that out of everybody now, not just footy players now, society. We're taking mental toughness out of it. Look at the way society is now. Everyone's depressed. Everyone's going to a psychologist. I'm telling you now, you want to make money. Young kids out there, you want to make money? Become a psychologist, because work's going to be rolling in. Everyone is just going to be mentally hurt now. You know what I mean? So I don't know. To me, people can attack me and say, "Oh, you're old school and all that." Yep, we lived fine, bro. We did okay. This is why I talk about it. We were all right, mate. We all came out pretty good. We all came out pretty good. All you guys from this era now, you are all falling apart. So don't talk about us. We all come out all right. Like me and Manny, you got to hear us go during the week. Don't see us falling apart. We're all right. We're all right. We know that it's a bit of taunting and that. We know when we go too far. We're not idiots. We're not going to go too far, but that's just me. So, look, I know, Mark, you're making some good points there. I understand what you're saying, but it's gone too far, man. He rubbed him on the head, man. He called him bald. You know how many times I get called bald? Yesterday, I was getting called bald, or what was I calling? Maxi bald, mate. They were calling me laughing. And I just went back at it when we had a good laugh and we moved on, right? I just don't get it, man. So to me, now, if I was that player that's now crying about, I don't know if he is getting upset about being bald or whatever it was, right? Mate, if I was the opposition this week when we're playing him, I'm walking straight up to him. Right? I won't touch him on the head because I don't want to lose $1,000, but I'll be quietly saying something about his hairline all game. My
Greek dictionary here translates baldness is a solar panel for a sex machine.
I'm the king there.
Jeez, there you go. So you've got what they call a solar panel up there, Rocco, and it gives your junior plenty of might. So good for you, buddy. Good for you. I might start shaving my head. I don't know.
All right. With that, let's move on to what's next. I reckon that's you've got early on your joke, mate. Jeez.
You're getting a bit soft there, Liam. Did I offend you?
No, so that's it.
Look at this, mate.
Are you taunting him, Manny? Are you taunting him?
Nah. I'm mentally tough.
They're turning this game into, I don't know what they're turning it into, man. Seriously, let's just worry about the footy and let's not worry about these things unless there was a complaint made or something. Maybe I'm way off, but that's the way I look at it, man. So yeah. Let's just move on. And you're right, Liam. Let's move on to the next one. And we've got another thing I want to talk. And I think Mark was bringing this one up. Is the game too fast now? Multiple injuries. I think it's like 9 hamstrings now. We had the Port Adelaide player, as you can see there, he's out now for 3-4 months. I think Petrarca's also done for a little while, and there's many, many more just breaking down. They're not giving players a break anymore. It's just moving too fast, you know what I mean? Now, they used to get those couple of seconds, you know, between the throw-in or ball ups or whatever, you know, just to get a bit of a break now, you know. So the game's just getting faster. The players are getting faster. They're getting bigger. They're getting stronger. They're running harder, you know what I mean? Now they're not getting a break. Mark, you brought this up. Do you think the rules that are now causing injuries?
Yeah, look, I mean, not even you don't even see the replays now of when somebody takes a specky or someone kicks a great goal. You know, it's the game's going that quick that they can't even replay it because the game's, you know, going on again. So I've noticed that, you know, there's a couple of special moments in the game where they used to replay it and show you the mark in slow-mo. They can't even do that anymore because it's just bang, already the game's going on again. So, but I reckon maybe they just made the new rule changes. I think they just, you know, threw all their eggs in one basket. There was just, I think they should have just paced it throughout, you know, the next couple of years. And I understand they're trying to make the game a lot quicker, but going by, you know, some of the results there of the hammies, 9 of them. And also, I noticed a lot of players they were cramping midway through the third quarter. Like they'll just sit there cramping. I'm like, fuck, what's going on, mate? You know what I mean? So, and I think what's going to happen eventually, it's going to get to a stage where some of these players, champions of the game and good quality players such as your Cripps, you know, your Hewitt, Darcy Parish, Hopper. There's a couple of other players out there that I could throw out that, you know, those players that your hard nut in and under, where they're going to be eventually gone. You know what I mean? Because it's too fast, the game. So I really feel for some of those players that, you know, that haven't got the pace, but they've got the skill to get in and under. But, you know, by the time the ball kind of hangs around the stoppages, the ball's gone. So, just that's going to be a bit sad if we start seeing those players start evolving away from the game. And I can start seeing it at the moment with Cripps as well. If the game was a lot more stoppages, mate, the guy's a gun, but it's just becoming too quick for him, And Darcy Parish, I saw it on the weekend. Fantastic skills in and under, just couldn't chase the players. You know what I mean? Whether it's a fitness thing or they haven't, maybe changed their schedules on their trainings. But I think some of these players that are not as quick might be out the door the next couple of years. We won't see these players much anymore. So that's the sad thing about it.
Never get it past. But Rocco Moro, we love you, and we're just asking the question: is it? You're saying they had nothing to do with it. You don't know that. You don't know that because if they're not getting their 5 and 6 second breaks, you know what I mean, during the game, and just you don't know, man. They're just pushing, and then bang, they're pushing again, and then bang, they're pushing again. They're not getting a break, especially a midfielder. Midfielder, all of a sudden, man, he's got to be on the ball straight away.
Yeah, just on that one with sorry, Mark. Just on that one, Rocco Morrow, that is. Archie actually did his hamstring in the Origin game, so he's now actually re-injured it again this week. So that's part of it on that one. But while I'm on that, just going back further, it's definitely an issue. Obviously, if we go all the way back to our Origin game, Archie did one. I think Sam Taylor did one in that game as well. He still hasn't returned for the Giants. That game was more than a month ago now. There was another hamstring out of that game as well. That was the first game with the new rules. Even in the preseason, we've seen injuries as well. So I think, when Mark put it in the chat the other day about is the pace of the game affecting these injuries, I was like, you know what, he's made a really good point. It definitely is, and it's hitting us hard.
I think, look, I don't know because we haven't got the research. We don't know what it's about. It's just a bit unusual. Rule change. All of a sudden, is it just a coincidence that we got like 9 hamstrings, right, in the first two or 3 weeks? Is it a coincidence? I don't know, and we'll find out throughout the year what's going to happen, and clubs are going to do their research and they're going to do all that and see it. So everyone can have their theories here. It is, it isn't. We don't know. All I see is it is quickening up, and a lot of these players are out. And guess what? We don't want to see these players out because these aren't dead shits. These are all top tier players that are getting injured. You know what I mean? These are players like a Petrarca. What is it? Is a Rosie that did was a Rosie for Paul Adelaide who did that? Yeah, Rosie, and then all these players here, mate. Don't tell me they don't know how to train. Don't tell me they don't know how to get their body ready, right? These players are professional, hardcore S-tier players, right? So they know what they're doing, but all of a sudden they're breaking down. Is it? I'm just asking, and so did Mark. Is it? You think that? So we just don't know. But you got to be careful, man. They make a rule. I've always talked about the wicked solution or the wicked, the wicked question, the wicked rule where they do something and you don't see what's going to happen. You don't foresee the problems ahead. So they want to make the game quicker. We got to quicken it up. We've got to make sure there's not 1 second break. We've got to make sure that every second is taken up because it's about the broadcasters, We've got to get faster. We're going to get more. Well, I'll tell you something, and I'll give you these 2 points. In 1979, when Carl won the premiership, they scored 120 points, just Carlton a game. That was the average goal. Fucking 21 goals. So I don't understand. You want to see more goals, but in the last 30 years, all you've done is seen less goals because of all your rule changes. And I'll give you another example. It's a different game, but the gridiron over in America, right? They got 1 million breaks during the game. Hasn't stopped their popularity. Still a good game to watch if you like that sort of game. I mean, it's okay if there's a break. What about soccer? Soccer can be boring for fucking 40 minutes. Like just kick, pass, nothing happening. Why do you think they sing in the crowd? Because they get bored, right? We have got the most, it's the best game Well, like sometimes I think we try to do too much, mate.
Yeah.
It's okay that it slows down for a second. It's okay to when they take their break and there's a throw in or something, I turn around and talk to my son. Hey, did you see that? Now I haven't got time to fucking chat anymore because it's the next movement. And you're right, we haven't got time to watch a replay anymore. Because how fast do we want to make this? I don't understand how we want action. Come on.
Haven't they introduced the they've got now the extra person with a sub on the interchange?
So now you got 5, yeah. So they took
away. Maybe this could be an opening for them to sit there and say, you know what? Maybe we need to put 6. Maybe we need to do that. Maybe we need to find a solution because. Look, the game is quicker, the players are bigger, they're stronger, but the grounds that they play on are absolutely amazing, yeah? I remember going to watch Collingwood play in the 80s, mate, and there was more mud than green grass, yeah? And players used to slog it out, and it was tough, and it was, that you could see at the end of the game they were exhausted, but that was the way the game is. Now they've got beautiful, lush turf. They can't taunt each other. They could blow a kiss to each other and say, hello, how are you? I'm playing against you today, and I hope you score 10 goals against me. They've got all these lovely things happening. Come on, man. Come on. There's problems there. The game has gone quicker. Maybe these injuries, as you said, Rocco, we can't prove it yet that this is the reason behind it. However, I do believe, honestly, that what they need to do is bring in more players in the interchange. They need the more players in the interchange. I think that'll be good. That'll be very, very beneficial. That's just my opinion. Maybe they could trail it out. Maybe they could say, you know what, for the next 4 or 5 weeks, we just bring in the extra interchange. Might change things around. You don't know.
I don't know.
I just want to make one point on that. We were talking about like training standards and stuff. Nankervis for my team, he's one of the guys who got injured. His last 4 seasons, he's only missed 7 or 8 games out of like 84 or whatever. So that's less than 10% in the last 4 seasons. He's now out for 6 to 8 weeks. One of his strengths has been that he's been so durable throughout all this time. Now he's done a big serious injury for the first time in, probably 5 seasons. So that's something, that's just one small example, one player, but that is something that I'm looking at as how can a player who's been so durable throughout so much of his career now be copping a hamstring? Is there some sort of link there?
Well, we're going to find out, Liam. Like, as I said, it's going to be a test this year, and we'll find out. And like the AFL will bring in rules and then, see the damages by the end of it, But what's funny now is I'm loving reading the comments here. So we got this one here. I reckon Ron Nielsen is someone that used to come on and change his name, and I suspect I know. The best way to return the game to normality is to remove the interchange. 2 reserves working fine, and it was the greatest tactical battle. Now, I think you've gone too far there. We've got Manny saying add 1, and we've got Ron now saying take them all out. I think the interchange we need, you know what I mean? And plus it gets more players into the thing, and then we go all the way to, there was another one here. I missed it. I'll find it. But there was another one here that said the actual opposite. Anyway, keep going. Mark, anything?
Yeah, no, that's
Go before we go about this one here, right? Take the wings out and make it 6. Now, so we've gone from. See, this is the problem. This is why are we wanting to change everything? Like now, let's go to 16. Ron, no, let's take out the interchange. Manny, let's make it 6 interchange. Like, how about we just leave it? Like, what was wrong with the game? I can understand the 5 interchange. I actually like that one there. Forget about this emergency. Just keep your 5 interchange. You know what I mean? Why we always see this is the problem? What everyone's doing here is what the AFL do. That they just go, well, why do we just do this? Why do we do this? Why do this? Like, why? Leave it, bro. Just leave it. It's okay.
If you want a little bit of history, over the last 3 years, guess who are the 2 clubs who have had the most injuries over the last 3 years?
Well, Essendon have to be one.
Yeah, Mark, Richmond and
The
Essendon.
Essendon Football Club
And
and the Tigers.
Yeah.
So they're doing something wrong, and hence that's why they're on the bottom of the ladder. But we'll go into that a little bit later on. But there's a
Manny,
little history.
from Greece, just
They
leave the
might have to
game
start
alone for years and now
reverting back. Maybe start reverting back to the old, bring back some of the old rules, like, maybe not, when you kick a point, you can just keep running like 20, 30 meters out of the square. And, that's speeding up the game. That doesn't give anyone a chance to, to man up or anything like that. Just bang, play on. Why don't they just go back to the square?
What they do now. That's what they do now. Now you can just quickly play on. You can run out.
Well, maybe just go back to just the goal square. You can't go past the goal square. Just maybe revert back. Maybe revert back to some of the actual rules.
I don't think they'll ever go back to rules because they just won't do it. But by doing that, the ball going out of bounds.
Slingshot. Slingshot. That's speeding it up.
All they're trying to do is make it quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. Where they want, like the game goes for 20 minutes, with time on, but 30-minute game. They want 30 minutes of non-stop action. That's what they want. You know what? Sometimes it's okay to have nothing for a second. You know what I mean? Just to take a breath. You know what I mean? To reset yourself. Not only as players, but also as supporters, even umpires. Maybe umpires, like I've just thought about this now. Maybe the umpires making a lot of mistakes, but they just haven't got time to settle. It's one thing to another. Maybe they're making a lot. So by doing one rule, all you're doing is causing more and more issues.
Yeah, they're introducing too many new rule changes for the year, mate. It's just, what was it, 5 or 6 new rule changes it was this year? Well, that's crazy, mate. 5 and the umpires have got to try and adjust to that, and the players.
That's every year, Mark. That's every year.
That's ridiculous.
4 or 5
How does that work, mate?
No other sport does that. I might be wrong, but no other sport does it.
They don't, mate. They don't. Spot on. They don't, because 5, 6 different rule changes. What the fuck for? Like, just let it go. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know what it is. Are they just getting paid to do this shit or what? I don't know what it is, man. But just let it go.
I just had a thought there, out of the blue, and I do get thoughts, right? I just had a thought there, right?
Here we go.
The AFL is always scared. They're always working on being scared of everything, right? They're scared that the NRL is going to take their people, so they play stupid games, at the start of the year. They're scared that the game isn't too fast, so they make new rules. They're scared they're going to go, so they go and play a game in fucking China. Not that there's anything wrong with China, but to play our game up there is just ridiculous. They're always scared that they're going to, everyone's going to catch up to us. Man, you've got the greatest product in Australia. You've probably got one of the greatest sports in the world, right? You've got the greatest product in Australia. Stop being scared that everyone is going to overtake you. They're not. NRL isn't going to overtake you. Soccer isn't going to overtake you in Australia. Right? No sport is going to overtake you in the thing. Don't worry about playing round 0. Don't worry about making new rules. You know what I mean? If you think about it, over the last 4 or 5 years, every rule they've kind of brought in has always caused more and more issues. And then they've got to make more rules. And this is what happened. They brought in the rule 3 or 4 years ago, and guess what? Now they've got to bring in another rule to compensate for that rule they brought in 4 or 5 years. And that's what, and it keeps happening. Next year, I guarantee there'll be 4 or 5 new rule changes again. So to me, the umpires are struggling, the players are struggling, teams are struggling, supporters are struggling. Everyone's struggling because we have dumbasses running this competition. Mate, they're given the best product. How hard is this? How hard is it? You got the best product, man. Everyone's going to watch it. Mate, sponsors are going to pay you money for it. Like, what is the problem here?
Yeah, it's becoming a huge problem. And when people actually start to dislike going to the football because they think to themselves, you know what, I'm going to go watch what? I'm going to watch another game of these bullshit rules that they introduce all the time, all these changes. You can't do this, you can't do that. Yeah, no, it's getting beyond a joke. It's getting beyond a joke, and people are starting to hate the game. Actually, you know what? I don't think anybody likes the AFL. and people are very passionate about their teams, but it's just becoming ridiculous now. As you said, what are they afraid of?
You make a good point. We love the game. We hate the AFL. Like it brings a good point that
He's
we
spot
love
on.
the game, but it's almost like, you know, when you work for a company and you love working there and everything, but you don't like the people who own it or run it. It's a bit like that, you know. Like I think you're absolutely right. And yet we'll go on to the next point. I want to show you this, and this kind of like leads into this. You know, instead of worrying about the taunting rule, you know, and all that. How about, I haven't actually got a graphic for it, but how about we get the timekeeping right and not lose 29 seconds in a game, right? How about we do that, right? How about we worry about the most important part of the game? And that, without me trying to be smart, is the game. Like, let's worry about the game. Like how good the game is. Like how can you lose 29 seconds in a game? And that was the game against GWS and who else? Sorry. St Kilda, yes. And GWS were coming and they actually had the ball in the forward line. So 29 seconds. And it was in the second quarter that they lost it. So they lost it in the second quarter. So there's so many aspects of this that is mind-boggling, right? Dylan, you should just walk away, mate, because just like a coach, you're in charge, right? 29 seconds lost in the second quarter. We know about it the next day. Mate, why couldn't this be worked out already in the second quarter? If you made a mistake, let's put it on the next quarter or whatever. Put it at the end of the game, whatever you wanted to do. How the fuck do you lose 29 seconds, right? What if they only got one timekeeper? Did he forget to push the button? They haven't come out to tell us what happened. Haven't, in $1 billion industry, what, we haven't got like 2 or 3 timekeepers that mate, seconds, we know that seconds are so important in this game. It's a game, all games are. Millimeters and seconds. That's what the game's about. 1 millimeter. Did it touch your little finger? Oh, it's a point. It's a goal. Yeah. Oh, 1 second. You know what I mean? How many times is the ball coming into the forward line? The siren rings and then he takes a mark half a second later. Guess what? That's not a mark, right? So time is one of the most important things of this game. And yet they fuck it up, right? They fucked it up again. They've done this before, right? 29 seconds, and Liam is right. Isn't a little bit. It's a disgrace. And if I was GWS, I'd be fucking pissed, mate. Because I'm telling you, they were coming. 29 seconds means the world, mate. Liam?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, it happened in the second quarter, but if that had happened at the end of the game, I think Enzo said it earlier in the comments as well. That's 2 quick kicks and a goal. Giants lost that game by 4 points.
Yep.
They could, if that happened in the last quarter and they lost 29 seconds, they would have been like, we could have had that one last play and won the game, but you've taken it away from us.
Yep.
So this is what I mean. The AFL is worried about all these other little things. But how hard is it to keep time? Really? The only other thing I'd say is like potentially like the club on the bench.
That's probably the easiest thing to do is keep the time.
The only other thing I was going to say is the clubs on the bench, I'm pretty sure they keep time and keep track of the game. I'm surprised that none of them called it out straight away. And we're like, hey, have we finished early? Have we stuffed up? Have you stuffed up? I don't know why it wasn't fixed there and then. But of course, we hear about this 2 or 3 days after the game. It's just another stuff up by the AFL. I'm not surprised. They stuff everything up. And I'm with Manny from before, just earlier. Like, Manny's spot on. I love Richmond. I love footy, but man, the AFL sucks.
Well, apparently the clock failed. The clock failed also with the Bulldogs game in the last quarter.
Yes, you're right. I did write that down. You're spot on.
What happened? Sorry, I missed that.
It did. They stuffed up the clock on Friday night in the Bulldogs Adelaide game.
Did they? What happened there?
Off the screen. I was like, what's going on? They're like, oh yeah, there's some problem with the clock. I was like, there's less than 10 minutes to go in the last quarter. How?
Oh, they didn't have
the clock. They need to know the time, and you've stuffed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't even get the score review going. I mean, timekeeping, score review is just as bad, mate. Geez, the technology, I thought of these days, they would have put that sorted out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, as I said, man, instead of worrying about bullshit and being woke and all that, how about we worry about the most important thing is your product, and the product is the game. And let's make sure we got that right, instead of everything else. If you got that wrong, forget about it. You've got nothing, and those little things matter. Man, I don't know, like I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but 29 seconds is someone's career, maybe. You know what I mean? It could mean the difference between making the finals and getting the sack, or anything. It could be anything.
Yeah, time is crucial, mate, especially the way the game's going at the moment.
I think I haven't seen the shape before, but how can a multi-billion-dollar industry have a clock stop? Lower league English soccer games have better time management, and don't get me started on the score review and cameras. Exactly right, and that's true. How can we have a stop clock? That is true. With all this technology, right, and all this AI and $1 billion we got to spend, instead of taking $1 million bloody paychecks, Dylan, right? How about we put it into some sort of technology where we haven't got a person with a stopwatch? You know what I mean? So I don't know, and then have a couple of backups. You know what I mean? Like I can't understand how they could get that wrong. It's really a disgrace.
Yeah,
it really is a disgrace.
Just on that comment as well. I did timekeeping once for a waffle game. I think I did it last year. I did timekeeping. We had 4 of us keeping the time. 4 different people, 4 different stopwatches, 4 different clocks. And we didn't get it wrong.
Well, that'll be.
But how hard is it for 4 people? Like, is that the answer? Just get extra people to do it?
Yeah. Costs too much, mate.
If that's, how can that cost too much?
Well, that's the reason. That's the reason.
For free.
Well, that's the reason why they haven't got extra people.
You're telling me the AFL can't afford to get someone to do
that. So how much are you going to pay someone, bro, man? Like, seriously, $200 to push a clock, to push a stopwatch.
It's the easiest thing. Like, you literally start, stop. Genuinely, you could get a toddler in to do it.
What about
just get a
this
toddler
one?
in to run the AFL? Seriously. I'm fired up tonight, boys. I'm not happy.
Like the whole thing about the taunting fired me up, you know what I mean? And then you see this sort of stuff and you go, man, like, seriously, we've got bigger issues to worry about. And I mean, we got only Carl, and can we talk about the $1 billion industry having the worst score review? And we did touch on that. And I mean, we've touched on that for years. F1, their cars go like 4 billion miles an hour, and they can freeze it, and you can see a pimple on his nose, right? And we got, again, like, they've actually got a little bit faster this year. I don't know why, but maybe it's just because of the decisions. But still, some of that, there was one replay that I saw that it was that far away, right? I'm thinking, why are you even showing us that? Like, that's not showing me anything. I mean, the footage at 7-Eleven, those cameras have got better footage of trying to catch those criminals taking the chocolates, than the AFL. Like, we keep saying it. I don't understand how hard it is. A few years ago, we came up and we heard that it was a bit of an argument between the AFL and the TV rights. Who pays for it? You know what I mean? Does the TV rights, because it's your, we're streaming off you. And then they go, no, but it's your game. You should be the one who's got the reviews, To me, it's the AFL. You're the one that's got to get it right. It's about the game. See, we're going back to broadcasting. I don't care about the broadcasting. Like, yeah, I want good view and that, don't get me wrong. But it's about the game. Get the game right. Get the results right. That's all we care, mate. It's about a win and loss. We just care about winning and losing here. That's it. Just get it right.
You're right.
I feel like the clock stoppers are taunting us. Yes, see, that's taunting. I'm going to fine them now because they taunted me for 29 seconds that I lost. That's taunting. Can I put in a complaint?
So what would be the average profit margin that the AFL would make in a year?
Man, I don't know, man. But I mean, just the rights at 1.1
300. Well, I don't know.
So last year they made a profit margin of just under 70 million, right? And we can imagine how much goes under the carpet because they'd be fucking dodgy as, right? They worry about corruption at your heart out, right? So they made 70 million profit, and yet they can't get it fucking right. They can't get it right. They can't.
No,
That's the problem. They can't get it right.
While we're going on the rules, while we're talking about the rules, there was something I noticed. There was the West Coast and the North Melbourne game. Now, 3/4 time, the Eagles went into the race. Is that a rule? Can you go back into the race and have your break and then come back out? Because when they come back out,
I've got the answer for you. I watched this game. They went off at quarter time as well. It was to do with the heat.
Okay, there you go.
Because they had the ruling for that. They had the option to use the change room, and they also had, instead of 6-minute breaks, they had 8-minute breaks. West Coast chose to take the option, go into the rooms for their breaks.
So now if it's too hot, if it's too cold, you can go into the race now. Wow.
Yeah. That was why it happened.
Well, it's funny because the North Melbourne players were in their positions, and then all of a sudden, West Coast are coming out. Getting into their position. They were waiting for them to get in their positions. It was not fucking. How does that work?
I wonder if that is a rule. That are you allowed to go into the rooms at quarter time and 3/4 time?
Maybe they were doing a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and a little bit of this, and
maybe it was the heat. Maybe it was a heat thing.
Yeah, so, I know it's been pretty hot over there.
Apparently I don't know where our viewers are getting information, but we've got a knowledgeable bunch of people here. AFL has 200 million in the bank right now. I don't know how he knows that. They would have, man. At the end of the day, and are they non-for-profit? Did they pay taxes, or I don't think? I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure they're incorporated. I don't think they're not for profit.
Apparently the pancake parlor that's owned and run by churches or some form of
it is non-for-profit. There you go.
Yeah, non-for-profit, and they're still making a lot of money.
That was smart by the churches. Pancake parlor. This is you making, and they're part of it. They don't have to pay. Yeah. Is that true, Manny?
It certainly is, yes, sir.
And AFL are non-for-profit?
That I don't know.
AFL is not for profit. I googled it. It is.
See, there you go. I knew it. So they don't pay taxes.
No.
Which is fine. You know what I mean? But get the game right.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, mate. Get the game right. You don't pay taxes. You're making millions of dollars, mate. Put another timekeeper. And someone else said it in the Premier League or whatever. They've got like the refs. It's the refs, and I think also the ones that run along the boundary.
The linesman, yeah.
The linesman, and there's also a fourth one.
There are people doing it.
So there's like 4 people that do the time to make sure they get it right? And I'm sure there's someone upstairs who does it too, right? And the AFL can't get that right. And this isn't like the first time. It's happened before where they've lost seconds. You know what I mean? So
many times.
Get it right, bro. Get it right. Now that he's walked away again. I don't know why he does this because I wanted to move on.
He's scared to face the music, Rocco.
Face the music in a second. Don't you worry about that. Because we're going to get straight. We're going to get straight into it. All right, I'm just going to bring it up anyway because I just saw this today. So AFL considering huge draft shake-up. The proposal would see clubs who have a top 5 pick that's moved down due to the bid get an extra selection at the end of the first round. Does that make sense, Manny, or are you confused now? You look confused.
Mate, I look like a stunned mullet. So
have you got the top 5 pick? So I'll bring it up because this will probably interest. So did you hear this, Mark, about the AFL considering a huge shake-up? Proposal would see clubs who have a top 5 pick move down due to a bid get an extra selection at the end of the first round. Right? So this first of all, you've been talking about this for ages, about, the bids, is it fair? So they maybe are listening to Fourever Rivals and going to do something about it. And this actually affects Essendon, right? Because you could be getting top 5 picks in the next 2 years by user looking. So it might affect you guys. And so they are listening. Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, I think so.
So you get it at the end of the round. You're not going to get like compensated for your top 5 pick, right? But you'll get an extra first rounder. So, but only the top 5. So the top 5, if your bid gets moved up or down, because of the the Tasmania or the academy players and that, father and son, you'll get a compensation pick. They're listening to you, Mark.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just more referring to, is this towards the bottom? Obviously, it's referring towards the bottom of the ladder, the teams that are on the bottom.
Yeah, so the people who get top 5 picks, your top 5 picks, so Essendon is going to be in that equation, right? Your top 5 picks. Yeah. If it gets affected and your bid moves up or down, you'll get compensated with an extra pick at the end of the round. How much more do I need to explain this?
Well, I'm happy with that. I've just said I'm happy with that, the way they're pursuing that. I'm happy with the way that's what I probably always wanted, something like that to happen. So
I reckon what they should do. I reckon what they should do is they should say to what's your president's name?
Welsh. Andrew Welsh.
Welsh. Yeah, they should say to that cockhead, "Hey, listen, cockhead, come over here with us. Right, let's go to every single team. Right now, you choose a player from the Can't Football Club. Who do you want from the Can't Football Club? You could take him. Who do you want from the Collingwood Football Club? Yeah, because that's the only way you guys are going to see the light. Yeah, the only way you're going to see the light.
But I wouldn't want to pick anyone from Carlton or Collingwood. So defeats the purpose of that, Manny, because
the AFL's realised. You know what's happening here? The AFL's realised that the big clubs are not bringing in the membership and not bringing in the crowds. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm not talking about Carlton and Collingwood, and depending Richmond who Richmond plays, but you got the Bombers. They're not getting the crowds in, mate. Forget it. MCG is way too big for you. Even that Marble Stadium is way too big. I reckon you might go start playing at the West.
I reckon, you know what? I want to.
You'll still have your passionate Bomber supporters there, Manny. Don't worry about that, mate.
Unfortunately, I wanted to get into this. So let's get into this, right? We'll get into that because I think there's a bit of Essendon talk. Well, I will get into this straight away. First of all, let's get this out of the way because this was an absolute disgrace of a game too, wasn't it, Manny? Tigers, 60, the Suns are 128. They absolutely destroyed you. Actually, when Lynch went off, it all went down here. You kept up with them for a quarter or so, and then they just ran away from you. And and then you got a couple of injuries also. So it wasn't a good day for the Tiger faithful. Tell us about it, man.
You're right. Yeah, it wasn't a great day. I did say I thought we'd be a little bit closer to them. I know a lot of people probably had that being as the result. Fair play. I guess they got it right. Look, you mentioned it. We started okay. We kept up with them for probably a quarter and a half. I think we were even ahead for a fair bit of the second quarter as well. They had a 10-minute period at the end of the second quarter where they just absolutely tore us apart. We couldn't get a hand on the football. They kicked 5 or 6 goals, and that was pretty much it. You could see after that come out at halftime, confidence was gone, heads was dropped, the effort wasn't there. We were kind of like, these guys are better than us. We're just going to cop the L. So that was the most disappointing part. At the start, the first half, we tried hard. We worked hard as best as we could. I think the most frustrating thing was probably more the skill execution and the turnovers. The intent and the effort was there. The skill and the execution was not. That was frustrating. A bit of communication as well, particularly among senior players. That was pretty frustrating at times. Someone like Noah Bolter down back, he he had no idea what he was doing out there. Because I was sitting behind the goals fist when I was watching him at times. He was just out there, just looking around. Oh, this is a lovely day at the MCG. I was like, brother, you're meant to be playing football. Ben King's out the back, kicking goals on you, and you're just standing around like, oh, what? Oh, am I meant to do something? Nah, not good enough from him. Injuries, you mentioned, that's probably the worst thing out of the game. Gold Coast are a very good team. They're going to smack a few teams. They've won every game by 10 goals or more so far this season. So it shows how good they're going. Injuries is probably the big one, as you said. When Lynch went off, that's actually kind of when the results started to shift. And then Nankervis going off as well midway through the third quarter. I thought he was probably our best player up until he went off as well. Seth Campbell was probably our best player in the end. You guys know I love him. He actually got pushed up on the ball, which was fantastic to see. He had 4 or 5 clearances for the day, kicked 3 goals as well. Sammy Lawler did some special stuff. Beautiful goal from the Crouchy from him. Couple little nice fend-offs through there. That Morris Rioli tackle on Dan Rioli, that's a highlight we're going to see on repeat all season. That was really cool.
Actually had a good battle then too.
Yeah. That's about it. Not a great day. I think, look, the result, it is what it is. Caught that one on the chin. Gold Coast are a good team. Would have loved for a bit more effort in the second half. Didn't get it. But yeah, the biggest loss is the injuries. We may not even play with a ruckman this week, apparently. But we'll talk about it later.
I've got a question. Is this a reality check now for Richmond where you're going to be at this year? So I know you go in, you've got a couple of injuries now. It's going to be a tough year, isn't it?
I wouldn't go that far, no. I think, as I've said, Gold Coast they're a good team. They're going to be top 4 pushing for a flag. And as I said, they belted West Coast the week before. They belted Geelong in round 1. They've won all their games by 10 goals or more. They kind of did what was expected. Also, you got to remember, a week before, we actually played a really good game and we're probably unlucky to lose one. So I'm more upset about that result than I am this one, because we dropped one, but we should have won. This one, I didn't think we were going to win. We got outplayed by a better team. It's more, again, that word. I know we speak about it a bit here, but that effort word, it was that you could see in the second half, the confidence was gone. We dropped our heads and we stopped trying. If we're going to have that sort of attitude when the going gets tough, maybe it is going to be a tough season. Hopefully, it's just a one-off. It's only round 2. We bounce back.
I don't think you're going to bounce back this week. Is Ben King the best forward going around at the moment?
Do you know what? I saw a stat earlier today. Ben King, he has had 18 kicks in his 3 games this year. 16 goals won. 18 kicks. 18 goals.
He's the best forward going around.
Like 90% of his kicks are goals. Honestly, yeah, he was fantastic. He looked really good. Mind you, Bolter was terrible. Like, he gave him no pressure at all. I don't know why we didn't make a move with him. I thought the couple times Miller was matched up on him, Miller did an all right job. But, yeah, Ben King, I'd say maybe a Coleman medalist. He's looking good.
Yeah, he's going to be. His last 2 years of it. Last year was a really good year, and he started this year really good. Manny, Mark, any last words for?
I think we'll just we'll let Liam off a little bit too easy, mate, because obviously it's Essendon. They're the ones in the limelight, but we tend to not realise that the Tigers. Honestly, you played at home, MCG. You play Gold Coast. They don't play that well at the MCG or away, to be quite honest. So I see that as being some worrying signs. I know you're rebuilding. We tend to use this word rebuilding all the time, but how long do you keep rebuilding, mate? Another 3, 4, 5 years? But again, you bypass again by saying your players and the effort and so forth. Yeah, it's all cliche. We all see that, but to go down by so many points at home in front of your fans, I think we're not giving Richmond enough of one of these beltons during the week in the media, which you should be.
Look, I do understand what you're saying. However, if there is anyone who can't really be saying that to me, it would be an Essendon supporter.
Well,
But I do get what you mean. It is frustrating. I did think being at home at the MCG we thought would be better. As I said, I thought we'd keep it around the 5 to 6 goals range. It obviously burst out to I think 6 to 8 points. That'd be 11 goals.
And that was my point. My point
was right. That is frustrating.
Talking about Essendon,
again,
we're just
like
talking about Richmond.
Gold Coast to here, we're down here. So I think that's kind of how people saw it. As a lot of people would have thought that was the result that was going to happen.
We got Petra Khan got a question for you.
No. The Eagles won their first game in over 300 games, and they're all of a sudden better. And they beat North Melbourne, who have been terrible forever. Nah, disagree. I don't think they've overtaken us. We'll see. We play them soon, so we'll see if they end up beating us. Yeah, maybe you've got a good point, but right now, no, they're not better than us. No way.
I like it. And
I was just going to say that the Tigers, to be fair, over the last 15 years, they've had more consistency than what the Bombers have had. But, credit to the Tigers. They did win 3 flags. Yeah, 3 flags, Mark, 3 flags. So you put that one in your pocket, mate, 3 flags. And they missed out on a 4th. But, you got to give credit where credit is due. And, a lot of these players, they've won premierships. They decided, time to move on, Because if you think about it, Richmond did get rid of a number of good players who wanted to, go to other teams. I mean, I don't know for what reason. To me, it'd be like if I win 3 premierships, seriously, it's like, you know what? I've won now 3 premierships. I'm a superstar. I'm now, one of the best teams that's gone through, as an elite team because, teams struggle to win 1. Yeah, 1. You get to win 3 like Richmond did. So, it's like Liam said. Somehow, I, as a Collingwood supporter, could say something. Maybe Rocker could probably say something, but Marco, I mean, look, you should just be sitting there and just.
All right, we're going to move on because we have to move on, and let's go straight into it. Let's go straight into it. 133 to 70, and really, let's think about this, right? First of all, I think you picked Essendon to win by 18 points. You are out by nearly 100 points there, Marco. But really, I reckon even that score flattered you, 63 points. That was really 100 plus point loss because you might have kicked a few goals at the end there. But really, this was a pretty bad, not only a bad day, this was a bad week for Essendon, and it's only going to get worse from now on. Yeah. So I'm going to give you the floor, Marco, and then I'll give the floor to Manny and Liam about this. And I'm sure there's questions we want to ask you, what your thoughts are on the whole Essendon saga. And while we're there, we've just got another viewer here, so we'll just get him to listen.
Hey,
it's good to see it's still surviving, the old Spud. Hey,
love it.
The old Spud, or is he the old Spud? Go for it, Marco.
Well, I always watch the game, regardless of where we are in the ladder. I'm a passionate Essendon supporter, so. I'm going to watch it. It was disappointing. I mean, the game was gone pretty much the first 10 minutes. So, again, things just didn't change from last week. The old cliche again, what Liam was just saying, there was no pressure, there was no effort, game plan, players were fumbling. I mean, it looked like I was watching the Benny Hill show, to be quite honest. It was that embarrassing. The players couldn't even hand pass the ball, turnovers. There's 23 players on the ground, mate, at the end of the day. And to me, watching that game was I just really didn't know where to go. Didn't know whether I should just keep watching it, go for a walk, kick the dog. Not quite sure, but, it was disappointing. And again, I just looked at, the leaders, again, 23 players on the field. The leaders, to me, just didn't show up again. Langford, Peter Wright, Caldwell, Durham, Mackay, could keep going, Perkins, McGrath. It just doesn't stop Redmond. These are the players that have been there long enough now.
Are they leaders? How do you define the word leaders?
Well, they're not in they're not in the leadership group, but they're the leaders for the club. They've been playing.
How do you define leaders?
Well,
how do you define leaders?
They've been playing for the club for long enough now to be leading.
Nick Dacos has only been playing for 3 years, and he's a leader. He's even been a captain. 3 years, and he's been a captain. So this is the problem. You got to get off this bullshit mindset. What do you call a leader? All you're saying is
they should be leading. They should be leading the young kids. They should be leading the young kids because it's disheartening for the young kids not seeing the players that have got the experience. They should be leading in the front. So those players are Caldwell. You know, he should be going out there gathering possessions, throwing his body in. You know, he doesn't have to be the best player like a Daycox, right? But what I'm trying to say is that they're leaders of the club. They need to step up. They need to show what the Essendon Football Club stands for. What are you going to get rid of all your players? Is that what you're trying to say, Manny?
Well, I don't understand. All right, let's talk about that for a second. What do they stand for? Tell me what they stand for, because I'm a bit confused. What do you guys actually stand for?
I'll just explain it to you. They should be leading from example to the young talent that's coming through the club. And we've got a lot of them.
But they're not, Mark. So
that's exactly what I'm saying. Well, that's exactly what those players are not leading. They're the players that we've got on the list, mate. That's what we've got on the list, and they're not showing it.
So then you go like you're leading what you're recruiting a team that of non-leaders. Like, what kind of players are you recruiting there? I mean, the players who had to stand up didn't stand up. The players who should have pushed, like you said, put their body in, show the young kids the way it was, didn't. Right? When they come out after halftime, I think they kicked the first goal, and then they went back in their hole again. No one was giving high fives. They've all fallen.
Those players that I've just mentioned, those players, you've seen the talent that they've got. You've seen Peter Wright, you know, contesting for a mark, taking marks, kicking goals. It's not like you haven't seen it. You've seen these players, you know, put in, chase, pressure, you know, and obviously the young kids, you know, come through from there. But that's not happening. So that's one problem. There's much more problems than that. But that's one problem. So they're not leading from the front.
Can I just say something, Mark? Now, and this is not me. This is me being serious here for a moment, right? Because I'd love to rip into your team. Now, you got these young players that you're talking about, right? Now, when these young players are coming into a team, right? And all of a sudden they see someone like Zach Merritt, who didn't want to stay at the club, right? Because he's been there for a long time. He says, you know what? I'm sick of their fucking culture. They can stick their team up their ass. I don't want to stay there no more. I want to go, right? Now, Essendon decides, you know what? You can't go. You're going to stay. He's there now, right? What sort of culture or what is he as a leader is giving out to those players? You tell me.
Well,
because if let's say I walk up to Merritt as a player, I say to Merritt, I say, hey, Zach, you know, you're a superstar.
They try to stand their ground by not, you know, getting rid of Merritt because he had a contract. So maybe that was a mistake. Maybe it was a mistake. You don't know, mate. You don't know what happens in the future. So to me,
my question.
Well, to me, what I can see is that Zach Merritt obviously wanted to move on. We're not stupid. We all know that. And Essendon made a stance, whether it was the right thing or the wrong thing. Now, moving forward, if we feel that he's not, you know, putting in 100%, well, then that's where the club needs to say, all right, off you go on the bench, or you're playing in the reserves.
Last week he was sitting in the dressing room. Last week he was sitting in the dressing room, and the cameras were on him, and he was sitting there smiling. If he had put lipstick on, he would have covered his ears with lipstick. Okay. That's how big his smile was. That's
what we're seeing now. That's what we're seeing. So we're seeing that, are we? So we're starting to see that, aren't we, Manny? So therefore, that the club needs to make a change. They've got to, you know, bite the bullet and say to themselves, okay, it didn't work. It's backfired. What are we going to do now? Continuously play him? Maybe not. I'm not there to make those choices, mate. You know what I mean? But obviously, it's bitten us in the ass. So now it's up to Zach Merritt and it's up to the club to decide exactly where they're going. If he didn't play next week, to be honest, the way we're playing, it wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't bother me, mate. If I had to give
you remember? Are you a member?
Yeah, I've always been a member, mate. Yeah.
Okay. So how many members does the Bombers have? 50,000?
Yeah. Plus.
3,000, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's say 50,000.
Yeah.
Those
We've got
50,000
65,000.
members,
Yeah.
those
55.
50, oh, well, we'll say 55. You know, we'll say 60 just to make you happy. Those
65.
60,000 members
Yeah.
should go to the Essendon Football Club and say, listen, we're the one who pays for this club. We're the ones who are putting our heart and soul, and we're passionate for our club. What the fuck are you guys doing?
Well, what can we do? What are we going to do? It's just like saying, why is the ticket prices going up, mate? Why is the interest rates going up? Look, man,
Tell them what the football club did.
You know, we might have 65,000, members, but not like Collingwood. The 30,000 members are their pets, their baby boomers, and all them. So we've got 65,000 true, members, mate. Not 30,000 pet members. The dog, cat, fucking bozo there. So, but yeah, on the game, right? Yeah, this is what I don't get with the football club. Also, they've got players that are playing in the reserves that have been playing for a few years now, like your Jones, your Cox, Gresham, Guelphy. And to me, I just say, why are they on the list? Why did they keep them on the list? Why didn't they just play them and just move on from there? Play those players that have been playing for the last 2 or 3 years. If it doesn't work out, get rid of them on the list. But on a positive note, Nate Caddy, there was a positive. There's a couple of there's probably about 3 positive in the game, and obviously it's the young kids. So Katie obviously 4 goals, 3. He should have kicked 5. He missed one simple one in front of goals there. And they included KK for his first game. He kicked 5 points. So although he kicked 5 points, he still had 5 shots at goal. So I was quite impressed with that. And Archie Roberts is going to be a superstar for the club as well. So those 3 young kids, I've got to look at positives at the end of the day, and they were the only 3 positives. But apart from that, mate, just very, very disappointed. And I just hope that it could take a quarter, against a team, and it could just change things around. Like you said, Rocco, things can just change. I can remember Richmond before Richmond won the flag, they couldn't win a game, mate. And all of a sudden, it took 1 quarter. I think it was half a game where they just switched it and they won the game. And from then onwards, they kept on winning. Hawthorn done something very similar.
Don't do that. And this is the problem. And this is the problem to Essendon people. This is the problem. You're all fucking diluted, mate. You're all deluded, mate. What is wrong with you? First of all, I don't need to speak for fucking Liam, but they didn't turn it in 1 quarter. They were making finals, for fuck's sakes, mate. When they won the 17 grand, was it 17, Liam?
Yeah.
When they won the 17, they've been making finals. They weren't just all of a sudden like at the bottom of the ladder and there was 1 quarter. Are you kidding me? You're deluded, bro.
No, before they won the finals.
You started so well there, and then you went, we might turn it. You won't turn it. I'll tell you why you won't turn it. Your leadership you don't have. You got no leadership. And the one person you had, and until you understand this, you're fucked. I've been saying this about Carlton. If you don't all pull in the same direction, you're sitting there going, we could turn it in a quarter. You're fucking bottom of the ladder. You got the worst coach in the system, right? You made mistakes by not getting picks for Danaher. You made mistakes by keeping Merritt. Your only leader. That was your mistake. Your fucking leaders on the ground, they're absolutely poor. They're poor. Against Port, they should have fucking had halftime. They should have come up there and stood up. But they didn't. You got a coach now who should never have fucking been there. You got outside people like Sheedy and Hurd and Lloyd now talking about the fucking club, about who should be coaching the club. No one's on the right page. Now, on top of that, you had a fucking players' meeting. You know what a players' meeting is? That where they had their own meeting, no coaches, no nothing. That's how delusional they are. And I wouldn't have said nothing until you turned around and said, we could turn it in a quarter. Your club is in the worst position it's been in the history of the club, and you think that you're going to turn it around in a quarter. Your club, I'm telling you, Mark, you better, like what Manny said about the supporters, they can't go there and do nothing. We're not the fucking Italian Premier League here, the Serie A, where they go and stand outside the ground and demand that the team speak to them, right? Yeah, we're not that. But you know what you got to do? You know what you got to fucking do? You have to start it, Mark. You and every other supporter have to start saying this is enough, because the attitude starts with you. because the club feeds on it. That's what's happening. Your club's feeding off you.
Yeah.
I'll give you a positive. There's no positives. No positives. Caddy kicked his goals at the end when no one was fucking even trying anymore. Caddy, your Coco, whatever the fuck his name is, kicked 5 behind. You're looking for fucking something that's not there. Your club is fucked, bro. Start realizing it.
I realise it, okay. I haven't denied anything. I'm just what can I look at as a positive to a player? What I'll just
no, there's no positive because you're about to get sacked.
That's what I'm saying. There's 23 players on the field, mate. It goes bigger than that, Rocky. It's not about
that's right. It goes bigger than that. It goes to 65,000 people. That's how big it goes.
I can still say what I believe. That's a positive to the club, and there has to be.
And this is why you'll never achieve anything. Because if I was coach, I would never have said to Caddy, you did well today. I would never have fucking picked that out. Because I would have said, you are a bunch of disgraceful pricks, mate. The way you played out there is a disgrace. I'm going to lose my job because you have got no balls. You made mistake after mistake after mistake. It's going to be 15 years before you even get near a final. Because once Tassie and that come in, mate, what do you think? You know your last 5, I think it's your last 5 or 6 fucking top 10 picks, first round picks, have all been a bust. That's how bad your recruiting's been. And then you got a chance to get first rounders and you're stubborn. Where's that going to get you? Sorry, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Rocco, look, I agree with everything you're saying, but, you know, you're pounding us and then you're pounding. At the end of the day, it does come down.
I'm pounding because I
want to be counting my chickens before they hatch, mate, because Carlton are not sitting pretty good at the moment as well.
No, but you can say that. But if you want,
that's fine.
Wait a second. I say it. We say it.
And what's been done about it? And what's been done about it? Nothing.
And that's right. And we keep saying it. But you're delusional.
I'm not delusional.
You're delusional.
I'm telling you exactly how I saw that game.
304 games. It's almost a season since you should be in here thumping the table. That's what you should be doing now.
Yeah.
12 months without winning a game. 12 months.
It's 12 months.
It's fucking 304 days, mate. 304 days, right? Since you won a game. Won a game. You got a coach who's on death, is a dead man walking.
Yeah.
He's dead man walking. And then you got leaders who want to leave the club and you wouldn't allow them. You got players having their own meetings, bro. Your club is a shambles, man. You should be stamping your feet now, saying this is not enough. Because as I said, it all starts with you. It all starts with you. And your attitude stinks.
Well, there's nothing much more I can do, Rocco. I've told you my thoughts. I've told you about the coaches. I've told you about the players. It's there. It's in black and white, mate. But there's nothing that I can do. What am I going to do? Like I said, knock on their front doorstep. You know, I've told you.
There was some positives.
Well, that's my opinion, right? That's not yours. You want to degrade your whole football club. That's fine, mate. But what I'm trying to say is that I see some positives. And that can only make me go forward, mate. That can only make me look at the game every week. Otherwise, I'll be sitting at home doing nothing. So I'll look at the positives.
All I'm saying is it starts with you guys, man.
Well, it starts from the hierarchy. It starts from the hierarchy, Rocco.
It starts from you. Sorry, Mark. It starts from you because if you don't set the standard, the hierarchy never will. Because I've always said this: the club doesn't give a fuck, man. They'll make money every year. They'll sell you the dream every year. They sold you the dream. You come into the year with the dream, sold that. We're going to finish 9th and 10th.
Of course, mate. Why
not? And their membership prices went up astronomically.
Yeah, because we can afford to do that. Not like
that's right. You can afford. Yeah. Now, look. The reality is that it becomes depressing after a while. Yeah, because you really can't defend.
I'm not depressed, mate. I don't have to go see anybody.
No. I can tell you right now. There are people.
I'm not saying about
people. There are people.
I'm saying about the team. I'm not depressed.
Yeah. I can tell you right now. I'm not talking about you as an individual, but because you become disheartened because you think to yourself, something's got to change. Something has to change. It has to. Now, you were saying about Carlton. At least Carlton, they got rid of the. They haven't gotten rid of the coach, but they brought in someone who is looking into the future. Now, I can tell you, if Voss doesn't perform over the next 4 or 5 games, I don't think he's going to be around.
Don't worry, he's on the chopping block too, Mark. Don't
Okay.
you worry about Voss.
What are you waiting for? This, what's his name? Scott. What's his name?
Brad Scott.
What's his Malaka's name?
The coach.
Brad
yeah.
Scott.
Yeah. I think they're a little bit confused there because they saw that the other one is a good coach. And let's not get it wrong. All right, let's not get it wrong here. The other Malaka, the twin, is not a good coach. No. He's not a good coach. He was just lucky that he walked into a club when Bomber Thompson was the coach, and he had already set the foundations, and they started bringing players in. Then he became a good coach.
He's a good coach, man. He's kept Geelong I think their record number of preliminary final. He keeps rebuilding. You don't rate him. He keeps rebuilding his side, and they're always contending. He's a good coach. That's a ridiculous fucking statement, that one there. Did you have something
like that from North Melbourne? You know what's going to be? You know what's going to be superb?
I'm waiting for my mate Liam to say something.
You know what's going to be the Liam's too soft. You know what's going to be the cream on the cake with a little cherry? When North Melbourne beat you guys, and they're going to be looking at your coach, and they're going to be saying, "You malaka, you left from our team, hoping that you were going to win a premiership, and you've done kurats."
Liam, do you have a question?
All right, I've got 2 game plan questions for you, Mark, and then 1 question, but I'll open up to all of us. First one, marks that you're giving up to the opposition. You've given up 160 marks average across your first 2 games, 40 more than the next worst team. Yeah. Why is that a problem?
Uncontested.
Why are you giving up so many marks?
Uncontested. They haven't got a plan B. That's the thing. That's what's happening. You watched the game, mate. We're just uncontested possession. It was just too easy for the teams to just, no one was manning up. It was just the same shit that's happened the last 2 weeks. So uncontested possession is how you beat Essendon. How you smash Essendon.
So there's
no game plan. That's what I said to you, Rocket. There was every team's got a game plan A at least, but we haven't even got a B. So if that's what's happening, if it's uncontested, what's the plan B? And you just couldn't see it. Whether they think that their plan's going to it's going to work eventually, it's not working. So every good team, and I said it a couple of weeks ago, every good team will have a plan B. Because every team gets a run on, and they work out the opposition side, and they use their plan B, and it works for some teams, and sometimes it doesn't. But we just had no comeback. I could see it again against Port Adelaide, uncontested. I was like, here we go again, the same shit, and more records again, uncontested possession. It was just too easy, and there was no pressure. So there's another theory. Obviously, post game on the Monday, why don't they go out and go to a comedy festival or something like that? Why don't they go out and play golf or go and watch a movie as a team?
Go out.
What
sometimes go out.
Well,
how about you go out and practice your kicking? Don't worry about the comedy festival.
Sometimes you need that, Rocker. Sometimes you might need to just get away from the club, get away from coming back on a Monday with your.
Why would they go to a comedy show when they went to one on Saturday?
Did they?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. That was the Benny Hill show. No, that's worked for some clubs as well, mate. They can only get advice from other clubs that obviously not as bad as what Essendon are going through at the moment, but they've tried things and it's worked. I think it worked for a couple of clubs. Some great there was saying that they took them out on a Monday night. They went to North Melbourne and watched the comedy show, and they had a good laugh, the team, and things changed. So, you don't want the boys to rock up on a Monday morning at training and, their heads are down and ready for a bit of a spanking by the coach. Well,
Yes, you do. You want them to come in there and you want them to be absolutely disgraced and ashamed of themselves. That's what you want.
Because it's not working.
Because you think that they should go to a comedy show. I'd be saying you'll be there on the Sunday having 5 billion kicks and make sure you hit a target. Liam, second question.
All right. The other one is about your players' time on ground. Now, you spoke about your leaders wanting to get them involved in the game. Now, you take out your two players, Redmond and Sharp, who got injured. Jai Caldwell, third lowest time on ground. Zach Merritt, sixth lowest time on ground. Parrish was seventh lowest time on ground. If these are meant to be your leaders and your star players, why are they not getting into game time?
That's right.
Well, that'd be the coach, wouldn't it? The coach is, for some reason, seeing that they're not putting in. I don't know. I mean, they should be playing majority of the game. They're our players. So is it the coaching? So again, you just refer back to, there's 23 players on the field. Well, maybe the coach just wants to fuck up the Essendon Football Club because he hates Essendon with a passion. I don't know. It could be all jinxed. You know what I mean? So, and I said it before. If you're going to get rid of the coach, I gave him till 0-6, but at this stage, if we lose against North this week, just get rid of him, mate. If there has to be change, there has to be change. Who the next coach would be, I really don't know. I'd love James Hird, but I'm not going to get into that conversation because obviously everyone's going to jump on board and bag the shit out of me for it. But I wouldn't bother me if James Hird come back just to reshuffle the club, hopefully. Or you go out and get a Ken Hinkley or Dean Solomon or maybe maybe Voss. I don't know. But yeah, where do you go from there?
I don't know, but you got to get the process right. And the second thing is, I think you got the youngest assistant coaches, average age in the whole competition. So you're fucked up there. You're not getting anyone around him to help him, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, there was an article that came out today that Ken Hinkley might be, they might be looking at someone like Ken Hinkley. I'm thinking, use a fuck. Something's wrong with your team. If you're thinking of someone like Ken, if you're thinking of James Hird, I'm telling you've got to move away from this. You have to move away from this. You have to get away from the Essendon people, bro. Mate, start thinking ahead, mate. Like, what are you doing? Why would James Hird, after being out of coaching for that long, why would he be the answer?
I don't know if it'd be the answer, but I think to coach Essendon, it'd have to have somebody that's been part of the Essendon Football Club. That's what I think. That's what you're saying, Rocco. This is what I say. This is what I believe.
Because you've got shit culture. You're just going to bring it.
Well, we need to bring that culture back, and that's why I believe that we need to have
culture. What culture are you bringing?
Come on, mate. Yes, culture. Yeah, well.
Yeah, but who's going to bring that back? Like, who are you talking about?
I don't know, Rocco. I don't know, mate. But I just believe that there needs to be more people that have been involved with the club that need to come back to the club. If that's going to change. Andrew Welsh obviously has come back as a president, but maybe he hasn't got that support. I don't know, mate. But at the end of the day, they're not performing. It's ridiculous every week. There's got to be some massive changes, mate. What is the players, the coaches, the board? I don't know.
One more thing before we move on, and this is open to all of us. You're talking about those senior players again. Where do you stand on that? If you want to get better as a club, do you need to make a hard call and say, you're not performing well enough, we should drop him? I did a little selection video for Richmond today, speaking about Jacob Hopper. Same thing, Richmond player. I don't think he's performing up the scrap. I think if we want to develop and get better as a club, we need to say, I don't care that you're a senior player and you're a supposed leader in our team. You're not playing to the standard. You can go have a trip in the two.
Hold on, Liam.
Do you guys agree with that? Is that how it should be?
Yeah. Just quickly on that, Liam, I did have that on my notes, and I was quite surprised that, after playing against Hawthorn, we only made one selection. Years ago, if you got smashed by 60, 70 points, you'd drop 4 or 5 players. That's what I couldn't understand as well. Why didn't he put, some of these players like your Jones, your Cox that have been playing in reserves? Why didn't he drop some of these players? You're not showing, you know what I mean? That's why
to perform in.
Can I give you my theory, Mark?
Go.
Which I will anyway, so I don't care what you say.
We know.
My theory is the same as Carlton. Our coaches are dead man walking, so they're not really doing the job for the team. They're doing it more for themselves. So, you try to go the safe option by putting in someone who's got a bit more experience, yeah? but necessarily that's not the best thing for the team. You know what I mean? So we're doing the same thing. We play people like McGovern or Fogarty, and I'm thinking, why are we playing these? We got kids in the reserves. Just play them. But people, coaches like ours, are under the pump, so they're not really thinking. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, because they know that the next game could be their last, so they're worried. They're trying to get the win. You know what I mean? And how do they get the win? By putting in what they think is a safe bet. But we know it's not a safe bet. It's actually the worst.
Just one thing on that, Rocco. It's more if you guys go out there on a weekend and you get smashed, it's the weak call that coaches make. They'll take out a young guy. Let's say they take out a young guy like Cooper Lord from your team.
Well, they did.
He may have played a good game. For me, that's a weak call. Whereas it may actually be, say, Sam Walsh has played a bad game.
Exactly right.
But they're not going to take Sam Walsh out, even though he's playing bad, because it's Sam Walsh.
That's right.
That's where I get upset. It's like, we're going to drop a young guy who didn't really play that bad, but we're keeping a guy like Hopper in our team because he's the supposed senior player and leader. No, he's not playing up to the standard. He doesn't get a game.
It's a selection.
That's how it should be.
So it's a selection. It's also money because you're probably paying him big bucks, so he needs to be out like on stage. You know what I mean? He needs to be on stage.
Doesn't matter.
Well, that's what's happening.
If you want to get better as a team, you pick the best team.
Well, that's the
right.
coaches.
And if that guy's not playing up to the best, he does not be in the team.
Yeah, but they don't talk about players anymore.
Mark's right about the money. You know, like we've got a couple of players there. They're playing big money too, and they won't drop it because they're thinking we're paying them 800,000. We're not going to like. Not that he's been our worst, but Zach Williams, because it's the last year of his contract. You know, he's on $1.4 million apparently on his last year. They're not going to drop him. No chance. They're not going to drop $1.4 million because they need to play him. They have to justify that money. And this is the problem with our teams, bro. They're not. This is why you need a brand new start. You need a new coach, like a junior, someone who's thinking ahead, who's got 5 years in front of him, who's going to think for the future, not someone who's worried about today. But anyway, we've got to move on because then we've got a special guest coming on too, right? Waiting in the wings. But we're going to do the ladder. You ready for this, Manny?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's go. Let's get the ladder up there, and there it is.
It's
You've got it upside down there. Is that upside down, Rocco?
We're on top.
Yeah.
You can leave it upside down, Rocco.
See how quick it can turn around, Rocco. See how quick it can turn around, mate.
Yeah, I like this ladder a lot more. How good.
Wow.
All right, let's do some reality. We'll go back to reality.
Listen, there we go. Thank you, Rocco.
Damn.
Okay, well, you know, it's amazing to see that we've got the Gold Coast Suns, Sydney. Those teams are looking pretty, aren't they? But then the Bulldogs, I think they're going to be the team to beat this year. The Hawks are sitting there nice and quietly. I know they really haven't played, really tough games, really. I mean, they had one training session against the Bombers. We know about that one there. There was no lubrication. That's what the coach was complaining about. He said, next time I need more Vaseline. But North Melbourne are in the 8. They're looking pretty, aren't they? They're 6 at the moment. Now, Collingwood's 9th. My prediction. Collingwood going to finish 9th. My prediction after round 2. I've got it on the money. And, of course, sitting pretty on the bottom is Carlton. Brisbane, I don't know what Brisbane's doing there. Brisbane looks lost at the moment. And, of course, you got Richmond. And believe it or not, the Bombers. The Bombers, apparently, according to Mark, will finish 9th. Minka, I couldn't see them getting more than 3 games, more wins this year. But you know what? What do I know? Back to you, Rocco.
We're waiting for our buy, Rocco. Manny, we're waiting for our buy, mate. Waiting for the buy.
Another one. Another buy.
That was fantastic. All right, what we're going to do is what have we got next? All right, we'll do that. All right, we'll go into the games. Well, we'll bring in the
hold on, 2 seconds.
We'll bring in the special guest because he's been waiting in the background. Here he is. We haven't seen you for a while. We thought we were going to bring a winner onto the panel, man. We'll bring a winner onto the panel. How's Jezza? How are you, mate?
Fine. How's it going, lads? Yeah,
G'day,
you have to have a winner on at least tonight. I mean, jeez, what's going on with you guys? Jeez, you're fiery there tonight. I was nearly scared to ring in, to be honest.
Well, when your team's that bad, man, you gotta let it out sometimes. But you guys just flying. What a win there.
It was a pretty good win. I was a little bit nervous there at quarter time when we got the 5 goals down. I thought, oh Jesus, no, not again. But they got themselves together, and the team got going, and the old boys and the new boys melded in really well together, and it was a really good performance actually. That third quarter is the best Eagles footy I've watched in probably 5 or 6 years. They were really, really good. Everyone put in. It was fantastic. The crowd was into it. Players were there supporting each other when they done something good around the field. You could see there's a lot more harmony in the team now. There's your players are coming up, patting each other on the back, pumping each other up when they do the right thing. And if players are getting handled a little bit roughly, they're going in and helping them. Whereas a few years ago, they weren't doing that. So it was a really good team effort. Very happy, So coming from a long way back, but still, I had that one penciled in. I didn't think we'd get Gold Coast because I really highly rate them this year. I think they probably are going to be a top 14. But I penciled in North Melbourne. I thought if we lose to North Melbourne, we haven't gone anywhere. After all the talk over the preseason, the great draft picks that we got, bringing in experienced players, all that sort of stuff, I thought it's all crap if we lose to North Melbourne. No matter, even though they won the week before, they didn't beat anyone. I think they beat Melbourne, was it? I think, or Port. Either way, one of those teams I think is going to be down the bottom with us this year as well. So I was really happy with the result. It was good to get a win.
No, it was actually, I watched the second half. I was doing something, but I watched the second half on silence, but I was watching it, and man, some of those goals, man, you were kicking them from everywhere, man. It was, and then the good thing was, North Melbourne did make a little comeback at the end, but you just you kicked a couple of goals just to secure the win, and it's good. Teams like West Coast and now even Essendon, I suppose Carlton's down there too at the moment, and Richmond, sometimes those wins, they do a lot for the team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the morale around the team, you could see it afterwards in the players. Even the players that come up to defence at the end of the game and give out footies to kids and stuff. You could see how happy and relieved they were, but it was older players and the younger players next to each other, embracing each other. You could really, because I felt there was a bit of disconnect there for a while, whereas the younger guys were thinking, well, we want our opportunities, and the older guys are going, well, we've put in all the hard yards and we don't want to leave just yet. But I think everyone seems to be on the same page now. From Woosha, he's coming out and saying, look, I think we've really recruited well. We've got the team that we think is going to take us to the next finals and stuff that over the next few years, probably 2 or 3 years. I reckon it's probably that long. He's saying next year if the wild card is still in. I think that's ambitious, but it'd be nice. So, the building blocks are there, and I think kudos to the recruiting team, and I've been fairly critical of them over the years. They didn't go all youth, which I was really pleased with, because we have enough young players. We don't need any younger. We need some people in there looking after the young players. So when they picked up Starcevich and Robinson, and I can't remember the guy from Adelaide, his name wasn't that. I thought that was really, really clever recruiting, because that's what we need. We need bigger body players around helping these young people so they're not getting belted. Harley Reid had his best game. He played a really mature game on the weekend. He didn't get into any kind of hassle, really. He wasn't sucked into stupid free kicks and stuff like that. He done a couple of things. I know he did try to bump into someone and they might have got him first, but that's okay. But he played a better game than he has for a long time. So
Mature. We've actually got a question from one of your biggest fans, I reckon. Good old Scotty Tompkins is in the thing. Did you get out of your chair when Cobbin smashed Roy did that?
I'll ask Sinead.
Did you get out of your chair?
No, I didn't, because it was pretty much on the opposite side of the ground to where I said. But what did get me out of my chair was when Milan kicked that goal. That got me out of my chair. I thought that's pretty
good to cheer him.
What a goal!
It was a really good goal. I mean, and that's the sort of thing that's what I'm saying. Like, every player was involved in it. Everyone came in, they're all pumped up still. You can see the guys are chest pumping each other. It was fantastic. It's the best sort of game I've seen them play for a while. A really big team effort. Everyone was in. Everyone was on. So,
Hey, Jezza, welcome to 2026 Fourever Rivals. Now, you said something about the club being more connected. Now, was that due to you guys perhaps taking the team to a comedy club or maybe a game of golf?
They were
oh,
watching the
jeez,
Essendon game.
you
in the
guys,
warm-up,
eh?
I
I
reckon.
feel bad for you tonight, Mark. I tell you what, mate, you've been copping it.
He's,
You know,
he's, what did he expect?
man, you got some serious thick skin, Mark. I'm telling you, I don't know if I could
Now,
cop as
just
much as you
on
have.
Harley Reid there, Jez, a lot of people have been saying that, Harley Reid could have, and perhaps, this couple of years ago, they were saying that this kid can potentially be a superstar. And of course, you can see sometimes the immaturity of the way he plays. But potentially, do you think that the team would have to start to build their team around a couple of players? Would Harley Reid be one of those players?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I certainly think it. Look, he's definitely in the future plans. So whatever they sold to him for him to sign those extra 2 years, clearly he's committed. He wants to think, all right, I'll give it the 2 years. Let's see what's happening. We wouldn't want to have 1-win seasons for him to be reconsidering after 2 years, because he's not going to stay, and he shouldn't stay. He's too good of a player to languish in a team like that that's not going to play finals football. He might not win a premiership. He might stay with us for 5 or 6 years. We might not play a grand final, but he might go on to another team and finish off his career and just sneak one in. Bit like Cripper, it'd be the same thing. He wants to be loyal to the club. He's got his mate Charisma there now, who I reckon is potentially could be better than Harley. He is a unit. He really is. He is a big tall guy. Sorry, my studio people are adjusting my camera for me.
The producers in the background fixing up.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello?
No, so she made me lose my train of thought. No, I was just saying, but the team will certainly be built around players like Charisma, Harley, Archer Reed, Job Shanahan, Tom McCartan, that sort of thing. And I think if you look at the way the guys played on the weekend, like players like Cripps had a pretty good game. I thought Cripps was nearly finished last year, but he took his opportunities were there. Jake Waterman is trying his best to be that leader up in the forward line. He would have woke up really, really sore on Monday because he threw his body at everything. So the building blocks are there. I think the team is all in. They know where they're at. They know the performances have been below par. They know they're not getting the results they should be getting for that team.
And I think
So,
Dersman would be certainly, hey Jezza, I think Dersman would be probably the pick of the bunch out of the brothers. I think because we've got one of them as well as North. So, and they're not playing nowhere near as good as this young kid's going to be. So, kudos to you boys for getting him on board at West Coast. But the temperature was it? Were you at the game? Were you, Jezza? You were at the game?
I was at the game and it was really, really hot. Like 3/4 of the ground was in sunshine for probably more than half the game. But I didn't realize it till the third quarter actually, because I looked up and I thought, where's the bloody Eagles gone?
Yeah.
Where's their huddle? So there was nothing said pre-game or anything like that that's what they were going to do.
Yeah.
I know there is a heat policy for the AFL, but I didn't know if like you said, I don't know if they are allowed to go back into the room or whatever. I would have thought that if you're a team from interstate and that rule's in place, I think you probably should be doing it, because I can remember a few years ago a team playing over here in Perth, and they walked all the way from their end of the ground all the way up to the shady part of the ground just to be out of the sun while they were having their break. So again, if it's a rule and it's there, why not use it?
Yeah.
Definitely got to use it. And you know what? And I think Essendon should take a leaf out of your book there. What you were saying, that you've recruited well, you know where you're at. When you said that, see, that gives me hope that you're on the right path, because you've got to know where you're at before you can start moving forward. You know what I mean? And I think Carlton's got this problem too. Everyone's pulling in different directions. We don't know where we're at yet. Mate, you got to know where you're at. If you're at the bottom and you're rebuilding, you've got to know it. You've got to admit it, and then we can move forward. But if you keep denying it and keep pretending you're better, which clubs do, because they need memberships, they need to sell their merch, and that they have to sell the dream. But you got to know where you're at, and what you just said is correct, man. You're at the bottom, but you've taken some small steps. You've recruited well. And now maybe you're on the way up.
Hopefully, we should be able to win against some of the other teams that are around us this year. And obviously Richmond's there. I do agree with him. I think Richmond's a little bit ahead of us. Although the injuries from the weekend is not going to be good for them. Essendon,
no.
look, you guys are certainly in trouble. I know I've said this before to you, Marco, but I think part of the problem from the outside looking in is Essendon, and you said yourself, they want Essendon people. They're not happy with people that aren't Essendon people. Like I think back to when Sheedy left and had Matty Knights, I think it was a Richmond player. Matthew Lloyd did not have a single positive word to say about him while he was the coach. He couldn't wait to get him out of the place.
Yeah.
And they haven't really got over that. So then obviously they got James Hurd in. That didn't work out too good. We know how that all ended. They tried Bomber Thompson, which I thought was a really good get for them. They just make it so obvious that they don't want anyone other than Essendon people to be coaching the team. But who are they going to choose? Who are they going to choose?
Yeah.
You know, and that's also just on Matty Lloyd. And I mean, fantastic footballer. All right, great footballer. Broke our hearts as Eagles quite a few times. But that's okay. But he has a bitch and a whinge about everything. What are you doing to help the club? That's not helping the club. The club is hurting. You know.
Yeah.
The club needs people that, if you're passionate about the team, you don't kick them when they're down. You come out and say, hey, look, we need to improve in areas, but you don't just go and bitch and moan about stuff. Get in there and do something to help them. You know?
And that's what I guess a lot of players do once they leave and they go into the media. They don't really care much about the club, like Rewalt. And so they just bag other teams and bag other clubs. And they're not as passionate, I guess, as what they were. But you're spot on. You know, whether that works if we do go out and chase someone that's part of the club, or just a fresh start, like Rocco was saying, just get somebody that's young, that's in the coaching, and we're gonna have to suffer for the next 5 or 6 years, but hopefully that works as well. So we've just been waiting for too long. You know what I mean? We've made all these different changes, but it's not working. So
you've got to start now. Before we go on, because I want to move on to the other games, I'm going to ask Jezza one more question. The taunting rule. What do you think, man? Have we gone too far? Is this like becoming now? What do you're my era, right? You're coming from a time where we didn't even know what a woman taunting meant, let alone like try to use it. So what do you think?
Look, I must admit, I was listening to you guys driving home, so I had the phone on, turned away, not watching it, of course, because I'm driving, and I did hear your conversation on that. Now, there's a fair bit of difference between taunting and trying to mentally get under your player's skin. All right. Now, I think if you talk about a player's families, their wives, or mothers, or fathers, or brothers, sisters, that's not taunting, and that's got nothing to do with football. But I want to go back to the point that Lee made. If you can find some little thing that annoys or pisses your player off, and you know what it's happening, it's fair game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, from watching me play.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I've seen you, and I'm like,
and set someone up. Why?
I mean, but that's what it's like. I mean, it's like anything. You're out there. I mean, the skill level of most of the players is comparable and stuff like that. But if you can get some kind of edge on some player while you're out there, you have to take it. Now, of course, there's limits. Like the whole age, racism, sexism, all of that stuff. You can't be going near any of that because they're not football. But if you could say to a player, "Oh, geez, mate, your kicking could be a bit better," I think, and he's upset about it, then you're like, "Oh, great!" I might tell him the next time he has, or I might be whispering in his ear, "Oh, mate, be careful. You have a habit of going off the shin here. Oh, that doesn't look." You can say whatever you want to him as long as it's related to the football game. But the whole taunting thing, I mean, the whole thing with Voss on the weekend. I mean, I didn't like what he done to the player because I think when that player got upset a few years ago, someone did have a crack about him. I think one of his family members were sick. And what they said was out of line, and that player was very, very upset by it. Now you don't see people that play AFL get that emotional about stuff on the field because they are bred to be tough. You break your leg out there, you walk off the ground if you can. Don't show weakness. So I thought for them to pick on him about that, I thought was really bad. I don't see that as a football act. I think that's a little bit low. I don't like that sort of stuff. But if you got like. I think Mark said before, you got me guys, hey man, did you see that goal again? I kicked, how good was that, buddy? I can't wait till the ball comes down here the next time. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I agree with you, Rocco, the AFL didn't need to get involved in that at all. At all. Listen, I would have If I was the coach of Fremantle, I would have gone to Voss and said, "Listen, mate, you need to get in touch with that player because that's out of line. We don't need that sort of thing. We're trying to play football. We don't need to see our players doing that." And he's a fairly high profile player. He's quite a character. He doesn't need to do stuff like that to be bringing himself into any more focus. So
yeah, spot on.
Very good. The voice of reason here. Just shut everyone up. No, you're absolutely right. For me, we said it before, you know, all that sexuality, religion and all that, we're going to keep away from all of that, you know, like there's no need to bring any of that up. But if I can get under someone's skin a little bit, even if it's like, if you're going to get upset because I'm going to call you bald, well, guess what? I'm going to use it against you. If that's what's going to get you upset, you know, but, and this is the thing, if they're saying that's taunting, like what's next? You know what I mean? And what about if someone misses as a bad kicking, you know, like he misses a whole bunch of goals, you know? Is taunting then, you know, you're going to miss again? Does that become taunting now? You know, like how far, why does even AFL get involved? I just don't get it. Like, it's just like, where does taunting start and where does it end now? They've opened up a can of worms now because now anything can happen. So that's the whole
absolutely.
Thing,
yeah. I mean, when the game is tough enough as it is, you know, as a football player, if you can handle a little bit of cheek from a, like you see someone like Jack Ginnivan, for example, you can see how cheeky he is at times and stuff. That, I mean, they were talking about, you know, I was reading something today, actually, talking about, you know, when players run into the goal and they hold the ball out to show the players. I don't like it, but you know what? If they want to do it and the coach doesn't say anything to them about him, go for it. That's not taunting. That's like, oh, well, see how good I am. Do you want to try and keep up with me or whatever? It's just, you know, but taunting, it's not a finable offence. It shouldn't even be sanctioned by AFL. I think the clubs should be able to say to players, say, listen, just stay within the rules and just, you know, don't be a dickhead, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like it. All right, you know what? You're going to stay on and we're going to talk about some of the games coming up and you can get involved. The rival games, yeah? We'll talk about the rival games for this year. Let's talk about, and we'll talk about your game coming up too. But this is the first one. Look at these two people. Look at these two beefsteakos. And Dacos only got a few more years before he becomes a devil. Dacos, the Pies versus this is going to be a good game. Interesting game. I don't think Pies are traveling too great. I think the Giants are a team that could just turn it around in one quarter. They're a team, Marco. Giants are a team that can turn it around in one quarter. Not Essendon,
yes.
But yeah. But it's going to be Marvel Stadium at 7:40. Yes, at Marvel. That's interesting. Why is this at Marvel? That's interesting, Manny.
Yeah, look, I think there's a bigger game on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Is there?
Which might be the reason. Maybe that's what they thought about it. I don't know. Maybe it's just
the Collingwood supporters are starting to drop off, Manny, a little bit.
As far as I'm aware, there's no other game on Friday.
They normally would hold 70,000 there, Collingwood supporters, all their members. What do you reckon, Manny? Why? What do you think?
Game.
Oh, look, it's interesting. They've got Geelong playing at GMH, whatever it's called, and then their ground they got us playing. Could be a contractual agreement. Who knows? Maybe they know that they're not going to get, you know, a huge crowd. I mean, you know, the Giants. I mean, how many supporters have they got? They got 10,000, maybe. They'd be lucky to get 10,000. They're going to come to the. Who knows?
It's actually Collingwood's first interstate game.
Pretty much for them.
Well, you wouldn't believe it. It's our second game, isn't it? Or our third game. See, I don't know. We these buys and these games and whatever. Actually, no,
third game.
It's your third game.
Yeah, look, game. I think it's interesting to see, but I think,
anyway, how are you going to win this? Are you going to win?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Giants got done by the $1 million Saints last week, and they looked pretty average. They really did. They looked pretty average. I think they're going to find it tough. I don't know who's our lineup, but I think our captain, Mr. Moore, will be back this week, which will be good to see if he is back. But I think our defence needs a little bit of rebuilding. So it'll be interesting to see how we go there. But look, I think we're going to do okay against the Giants. I don't want to say too much, but I think we'll win that by a couple of goals.
Any thoughts, guys? Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think Manny, yeah, you're going to get your two key backmen back. There's not about it. I must admit, when I looked at that game you played a few weeks ago against Adelaide, had I have realised those two players were out, I probably would have changed my tip, because certainly the tolls of Adelaide got you guys off guard. You didn't have anyone to look after them. So I think you'll be able to address that this week. The Giants have had a pretty disappointing start to the season. Again, I mean, I had high hopes for them last year and they let me down. So they're looking like they're doing the same thing this year. They don't seem to have a lot of injuries, but I just don't seem to be getting it at the moment. So if I was tipping this week, I'd certainly be tipping Collingwood. I think they've had the week off. Apparently that gives teams an advantage. I'm not sure how you can have a bye after 3 games, but that's a whole different conversation. So it buys for me for sure.
They certainly need as many guys.
Can I just say, Rocco Moro, he's from your part of the woods, Rocco Moro. He's all the way up there. So, but he's a big
Armadale Jazz.
Miss Moore.
Oh, Armadale. Cool.
Miss Moore. That
Are you going to the game, Manny? You going to the game, mate? You going to Marvel there?
I was talking there, Mark. So I don't know.
Sorry. I was talking to Manny. Sorry, mate.
I don't know. I was just in the middle of my joke.
Sorry,
and
mate.
You ruined me. I was going to say Miss Moore, Rocco. You know that could be classed as taunting. So just be careful.
I think that is a form of taunting, isn't it?
We might have to suspend you from the chat for a week, Rocco.
Oh,
You might get suspended from JP, mate. We can't. I think if we suspend Rocco Moro from the chat, he would go into cold flushes, mate.
Yeah, that'd be it, mate.
He's on
TJC
everything.
would go under.
What did you ask, Mark? Sorry.
I was Manny. Are you going to the game at all?
I'm not sure at the moment, mate. I have been a little bit under the weather.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did mention that.
So
I did hear that I think that Moore and Howe are not 100% fit, mate. I think they're desperate to throw those players back into your team. So just be mindful, because it's a pretty fast-paced game these days, Manny, that those two players might pull a couple of hammies before the game even starts. So that was just a little bit of a whisper I had, mate, that they're not playing him 100%, not 100% fit, mate. So just be mindful you might have a longer-term injury with those two boys.
I appreciate that, mate. That's great advice from a Bomber supporter.
That's all right, mate. That's all right.
Wow. Let's talk about another one. We had 18. We've had Collingwood, but now let's go to the 17th spot on the ladder. And I think, this is an interesting one because you'd want Richmond to win, wouldn't you, Jezza? Because you would hate Fremantle with all your heart, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, I would hate them, but when it comes to tipping, you might have to.
Fair.
I mean,
anyway,
I'd be tipping Fremantle, but you'd be worried. I mean, that game that I dropped against Geelong a few weeks ago, I must say I was very surprised by the coach's comments go out and say, the team that played the week before has the advantage. I thought, geez, man, I don't know if that's why you lost the game. You're 6 goals up. I don't really think that's what's happened there. So I thought it was an unusual excuse to use for losing a game.
Yeah, but they got no. They won't lose this game, will they, Liam?
I wouldn't think they would. No, I mean they got Melbourne pretty good, who aren't going to be great this year. I think Richmond, because with their outs, I think with Nankervis out in particular, they're really going to struggle to be able to win the ball out of the middle. And unless the lockdown Sarong again, but if you lock down Sarong, Brayshaw just says, "Oh well, here I'll have a go." So it's either one or the other. You can't do the two of them.
Nah,
sorry, Liam.
I made the comment the other night on a show I was watching. I was like, I want us to tag Sarong because he doesn't handle a tag well, but I don't want him to tag Sarong because he's in my fantasy team. So we'll see. But I think the bigger matchup that's going to be the problem. We spoke about the injuries that we've had. We're potentially going to play a brand new ruckman, Ollie Hayes-Brown. We used to watch him at the Wildcats. That's crazy. Now we're watching him play footy. You might be getting his debut coming up against Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson. That's not an easy feat for any good ruckman, let alone a first gamer.
No,
Uze
absolutely
also
not.
said in the
No.
press conference today, we may not even bring him in. We may do a hybrid sort of thing. We may swap through like Lafau and Bolter and Campbell Gray even, and just cycle the three of them through as a ruck. So, this is a game I'm definitely nervous about. I do think Freo are a pretty good team. Obviously, over in Perth as well, they're going to be good. I was actually going to ask you, Jez, about the weather. I've been hearing some reports. It's going to be pretty crazy over there.
Yeah, there is a bit of a cyclone coming through. All right, it's meant to be quite a lot of showers over the weekend, like rolling in tomorrow evening. There's meant to be some pretty heavy rain, so they are keeping an eye on it as far as the starting the game and stuff like that. Obviously, the game suspended last week for a bit with lightning and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Giants and Saints.
Interesting. Interesting. In the chat, just quietly, the Rocco suspending Rocco. Everyone's gone crazy about this suspension that might be coming, and they're all banned against the Roccos, and they're going to protest outside of TJP.
There's
so
like 3 Roccos in the chat and 1 on the show. We're outnumbered anyway.
Wow. Are there 3 Roccos? See, have you ever seen the 3 Roccos in the same room together? No.
Oh, I've seen you and Rocco Morrow in the same room.
I have too. He was at the end of year. You're right too. There were 2 of us there. You're absolutely correct. All right, so Fremantle will win that easily by 100 points.
Yeah.
All right.
Not looking good.
The next one. Seriously, this could be the round of that. I am looking forward to this game so much, right? Essendon North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium, so they should get a whole 15,000 people there. So 7:35. When's that on a Saturday? Is that on a Saturday? Yeah,
Saturday night. It's a Saturday night.
There you go, mate. Tell us about it. How are you going to lose this game?
What's the marshmallow game, isn't it? The old Kevin Sheedy.
It's a marshmallow game, yes.
Remember the last couple of years on his show, I was eating marshmallows every week after these games. Don't know if I'm going to be eating them.
You're not eating them now, are you? You're not eating them now.
Oh, look, I mean, yeah, God knows what's going to happen this week, to be honest, but I reckon just make some changes. Put those players in that I suggested just before, Jones, Cox, Guelphy, Gresham, put them in, see how they go. Got nothing to lose. Could be their last games for the club, so throw them in. I do hope it's going to be a good game, to be honest. You know, I think there will be close to 45,000, 50,000 there. But, you know,
50,000?
I reckon it'd be about 40. Yeah, I think so. I think being the first home game for the Bombers this year, they'll get on board. There'll be 45,000, I think, this year.
Are you going to be there, Mark?
I'll always be that Marvel, mate. Love Marvel. It's got the road, closed roof and everything, mate. So, look. To be honest, I'm not quite sure how we're going to perform this week. But come on, we can't keep going like this. We just can't keep going. So just effort, pressure, and hopefully we get the points, mate. And hopefully we get the points. We need it. We need it.
You need to release that pressure valve, because if you lose to North and if you lose by a big margin, there could be a sacking next week.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's why I just hope it doesn't happen. But it's not about the sacking. I think it's just for the supporters. I think we need to do it for the supporters this week. So just pressure Bombers. Come on. There's 23 players. Just get out there and do fucking something, as they say. Don't think, just do. So go to Bombers. 3 goals, I reckon.
What do you reckon, Jez?
I was just going to say to Marco, just having just seen North Melbourne and stuff like that, there's a couple of key players for them that's really good. There's obviously Sherry in the ruck. He's a unit. He's a big lad. You've got Sheasel, who racked up, I think, 40 touches on the weekend. You got Larky up forward and stuff like that. So I'm just thinking that could be, 3 touches and they're lining up for goal. Do you guys have someone that's going to be able to cover that? Because the early part of the game, that's what was working for North Melbourne. Like our ruckman is no good. And the way the ruck is set up now, where they're not allowed to wrestle and stuff like that, for Sherry, it's it's easy for him because he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah,
he really is, and he gets around the ground really well. So
yeah.
Larky was leading and marking really well and kicking really strong. So
yeah.
there's just 3 players. Do you have a matchup for them or?
Well, look, I mean, we haven't got a ruckman, to be quite honest. Blackenston, I think it was a supplementary player last year, and he was basically playing in the back line. But you could see it. I mean, he's just not a big ruckman. We've got no one. You know, obviously Draper's gone and Brian's still carrying the ACL. So there is a young player by the name of Vicentini. I think it is a young Italian fella playing the reserves, but he just got injured as well last week. So we've got no ruckman at all, and that's what's killing us a little bit as well. You know, first touch to the ball, but yeah, that's Sherry. He's quite a big boy, and that's going to be a key. And I think Larky also. He's going to be the type of player that will kick 6 or 7 against us. It's always against us.
I think so. Yeah,
you know, he's a gun.
He was
player.
in pretty good touch on the weekend.
Yeah, and yeah, she's all. I mean, you know, he's getting better and better every week. So it's going to be tough. I think it's just going to come down to just all 23 players this week, mate. To be honest, just play our football and hopefully we've got the players to do that this week. But it's going to be tough to hold those 3 boys. It's going to be very tough.
Has there been much on the media over there in Melbourne about Essendon? Obviously, everyone's calling for the coaches.
Everything's about Essendon.
But are they coming out as a united team at all? Or, I mean, I know Langford's come out and said the right thing, and some people have questioned whether McGrath's the right choice for the captaincy and stuff like that. Has anyone come out and said, look, we just need to knuckle, almost like the line in the sand game with Hawthorn quite a few years ago? Is it? Yeah. Do you think they need to go with that mentality?
I think they do, and that's what I was suggesting before. They just need something that's going to work for them. Whether it's, Rocco wasn't happy about me saying that, there could be just a quarter that they just need to, I don't know, you know what I mean, win a thriller, and it can maybe just change. I'm not saying that we're going to make finals, but it could just change the character and the club in some ways. But that's not happening at the moment, and I'm sick and tired of waiting for that. But yeah, the media around here is just crazy about Essendon. And we're shying away from the Tigers and the Blues and the Magpies at the moment, but it's all about Essendon at the moment. So just need to get away from it.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think Essendon finished on top of North Melbourne last year, right?
Yeah, they did. Yep.
So has North improved that much that you guys wouldn't be going into this game thinking we should still be able to get them?
Well, to be quite honest with you, at the start of the year with our list, I felt that we would probably be playing a lot better than what we have. I was comfortable in us beating those lower teams, your West Coast, your Norths, Richmond, Melbourne, Collingwood, Carlton. I thought we were going to probably – I mean, it's only round 2, to be honest. But, I mean, what I can see at this stage, I can't see us beating any team, to be quite honest. But, yeah, every year we started quite well. Last year, obviously, we've had some major injuries. But it's still not good enough. Like I said, there's 23 players playing, and I think we just need to, just come as a team. Like I said, get away from football for a little while maybe and just, reunite the players together and anything can happen. You know what I mean? So
you're only a game away from changing things, man. Don't stress.
We are, Manny. We are, Manny. You just don't know, mate. Anything can happen this week.
Yeah.
I might be at Marshmallows next week, mate, on the show.
Let me know. I'll try and organise for the comedy club down at North Melbourne.
Yeah, I'll be in that. I'll be in that, mate, with the players as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. As I said, like to me, I see a lot of similarities with Carlton. You got to start. Mate, your list is terrible. I think you could have possibly one of the worst lists in the competition. I know you talk about your junior, but that's where it all starts. Your list is terrible. Your leaders, but you're right. You got to get out there. You got to look. I say this back home. You got to go out there and show something this week. It's not even about the win anymore. It's about showing something. It's about showing some guts. Your leaders, like even Merritt. Merritt. He played good in the first game. I don't know how well he played last week, but he's got to stand up, man. He's come back to the club. Stand up. Your leaders have got to stand up, and the coach has got to start. I don't know what the coach is done, man. The coach is done. So anyway, good luck. Talk about another one that's going to be good.
Mark, can I ask you one more question, Marco?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think the coach has the support of the club, like from a board level and to the leadership set at the club?
Good question.
You know, I've got a funny feeling for some reason the players are not listening to the coach. I think that's where it's coming from. I think the players are not playing for the coach. The administration, I think, are supporting him, but I think the players, if something's gone wrong, I reckon with the player and coach, there's no communication there. They're not playing for him.
You're saying he's, well, his question was, has the club, you know, backing the coach, and you're saying they might be backing him. So you're saying that the team, you're saying the coach lost the team. He's lost the team.
I think so.
Because once you lose a team like that, there's no coming back. They're not going to play for you. They're only going to play for themselves. They don't know. They don't know who the coach is going to be. They don't know if they're playing for their careers. They don't know if they're playing for next week. You know what I mean? They don't know who's going to be there. So if he's lost the players, there's no coming back.
And it's going on his 4th year too. So there's no ground the last, you know, probably 12 months. So if anything's we're going backwards. So it could be maybe the players just not wanting to play for him. You know, that could be one solution. But yeah, you know, there's problems there, mate. So if that doesn't work, yeah, we're going to have some pretty harsh games in the next 3 or 4 weeks, I reckon. It's going to be pretty scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is going to be all right. Yeah, so
it's going to be a tough season.
Yeah.
And another team that's going to have a tough season, I think, is my mighty Blues. I got the $1.4 million man on one side and Pickett on the other side, who could absolutely run riot on us if we're not careful. So that's Sunday. We got the graveyard shift there, 3:15 on a Sunday. So I'll be down there. MCG should be interesting. Probably get about 60,000, 55, 60. I don't think we'll get more than that. Sunday night, usually you don't get too many, but yeah, so this one's going to be an interesting game for us too. Talk about Essendon. We're probably not much better than them at the moment. I don't rate our list. Friday will be the team selection, so make sure all the Blue supporters out there, you catch my son Dylan and Zach with Selection Blues at about 5 p.m. and they'll announce the team. I'm looking forward to that, to see what kind of moves he's going to do. Who's he going to bring in? Who's he going to drop? It'll be interesting to see. Melbourne, we're all in the same position. Melbourne, Carlton, North Melbourne. So who knows what's going to happen? I always think we can win against these sides. So I think we'll win by 2 or 3 goals maybe. But if they get that outside run, man, we're in trouble. But we kind of match up pretty well. We've beaten them the last 4 times. They've all been under 9 points. So it's going to be an interesting game. But on last night's show, we put 4 players under the spotlight. So we've got a segment called Under the Spotlight. And then we put the coach under the spotlight. But the players I'll be looking at tomorrow are Mackay. We need you to stand up, mate. Everyone keeps saying, it's Mackay's forward line. Well, now Curno's not there. Start showing that it's your forward line, man. Start doing something. I'm looking at Elijah Hollands. We've given him a second chance. He's got oozing in talent, that bloke. He's so talented. But, mate, he's got to start standing up. We've given you actually it's your 3rd chance. McCallum's given you a second chance. We delisted you and then brought you back onto the list. We've given you 2 games when I don't think you deserved it yet. So I'll be watching him, and I'll be watching the captain. He hasn't been that bad. Last week he was okay. He got like 32 possessions. Everyone might go, yeah, that's okay. He got 32. He missed 4 goals. I know we won the game, but he missed 4 goals, you know, in front. I need him to stand up a little bit more. And because in that last quarter, even though we won, we kicked 1 goal in the second half. You know, we needed those leaders to stand up, maybe slow down the game, maybe direct a little bit. So I'll be looking at Voss also, and naturally, I'll be seeing Cripps, but I'll be looking at Voss. Voss. I want him to not try to reinvent the wheel. the wheel. Keep Lord in the centre. Don't put him along the wing. Keep Ollie Hollands on the wing. Don't put him in the back pocket. Keep Mackay in the forward line. Don't put Cribber up in the forward line for long periods of time. William, we don't know where he's playing. He goes back. He goes forward. McGovern, Backman, they started him forward last week. Yeah, he kicked 2 goals, but then what? So what are we going to do with him? Selection, what are they going to do? So it's going to be an interesting game, guys. It's going to be an interesting game. I think we'll just win, but we've got a long way to go. This isn't just about Melbourne for us. We've got North Melbourne after that. And then we've got Adelaide, we've got Fremantle, we've got Collingwood. It's going to be tough. I don't think Boss is going to make it throughout the year. I don't think he'll make it through the year. I think he's done. I don't trust Voss at all. Zero. I don't trust his style. I don't think he's a good coach. They got Simpson in. If your coach is any good, when do they get someone in there to say, he needs assistance? Why? For what? You know what I mean? So I don't trust him. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough year for us, but I think we'll win this game. Your thoughts? Jezza, what do you reckon about the Blues in Melbourne?
Just a quick one on the Rock, because I know Carlton have done almost the same thing they did in almost every game last year. They don't turn up after half time.
Yep.
Now, Richmond really should have won that game, and if it wasn't for Tom Lynch playing for Carlton by missing so many goals, they probably would have won it and would have won it by a lot.
100%.
So after that game, and I know you don't like the coach, and I don't want to fire you up again because you've calmed down since the start of the show. But I watched the Voss come into his press, and the first thing he said was, "Oh wow, who'd be a coach? Does anyone want to do it?" And I'm like, Jesus, I don't know if I want to be hearing that from my coach. Yes, you got away, but I don't think that's how you should be starting your press and stuff like that. So, look, I'm a big Vossi fan as a player. As a coach, I think he's struggled a little bit. He hasn't. Maybe he's just one of those really, really good players that's not a really, really good coach. So there's a few players in your team certainly need to lift. I think Harry, like you said, if he wants to be the man up there, he's just got to do it. He's capable. So he doesn't have anyone taking the attention away from him and stuff like that. So, Cripper, I think Cripper is probably getting old and tired and slow, and the game I think has sped up considerably from his perspective. He's never a great pace player anyway, so I think he's going to struggle a bit with that. McGovern, he's not a forward. He's a back man. Leave him in the back line. He's like his brother that played for the Eagles. They used to play him up in forward line. I used to think, oh, Jesus. For a guy that could kick the ball so well, his kicking for goal was rubbish. So leave McGovern down in the back line. So don't try and move players around, because your issue isn't moving players around because they're not playing well. You need to leave them in their position and let them do what they've done for most of their careers. The positive for you is Pitnet is doing really well in the ruck. The ruck rule changes have really suited him. He's been really good in your 2 games so far.
And he's leading our goal kicking.
Yeah.
With 4 goals.
Yeah.
So that's the positive for you. I think you will get Melbourne, because I really don't rate Melbourne that much. I think they've lost too much out of their midfield. Like now, with Viney out injured, Petrarca gone, Oliver gone, I think they're in a bit of trouble. And from what I saw against Fremantle on the weekend, I'm like, geez, I don't know. Aside, like you said, Cozzy Pickett's pretty good. Vaughan's very good for them in the ruck and stuff. But you know what you're going to get out of those players. But aside from that,
that's what I said. And that's what we said. Yes, our midfield should win this. We should win the midfield. We should win it. We've got a better midfield. And I think Shearer could be up for selection. So they'll bring him in, even though we're not a great fan of Shearer yet. I think he's been disappointing, but he'll come back in. Just keep, like I like Cooper Lord. I think just keep him in the middle, keep Hollands on the wing. And the other great, you look at positives, Jagger Smith could already be our best player. He's an absolute superstar, man. He's better than any other player out there. He's just so smooth the way he moves. I mean, he still does a few mistakes. He's young, 2 games in. What do you want, But, man, he knows where the ball is. He knows where to position himself. He's always got that extra step, where he finds that space, He steps away from the play and gives himself. I hate to say it. He's very Dacos-like, where he's got that movement, He's got that move. He'll be better than Dacos. He's got that movement. So
Big statement. Big statement.
Yeah, he'll be
Big
better.
statement.
No, he's definitely the big positive. I love watching. He's already averaging 30 possessions after 2 games. I think they're already tagging him. So when you're getting tagged and you're a second game player and you've got Cribbs and Walsh in there, you're doing a good job. So yeah. So I reckon we'll win. But it's going to be interesting. If we lose, talk about Essendon. If we lose,
Oh yeah,
it's going to be talk about, if we get smashed, either one of us, Mark. If our teams get smashed on the weekend, mate. So if you get smashed, you better hope we get smashed, because if we win and you get smashed, the limelight's going to be back on you, Blake. So I reckon we're going to tag team the limelight all year. So that's it. All right. All right, let's go into the other tips. And we'll put them out there. There you go. Here's the other games. You can see our tips on the side there, I think. Yeah, there's not much difference. Collingwood, I went for GWS, and so did Mark. Of course, us two did, because we won't go in Hollywood. And I think everyone else is pretty much the same. My Brisbane Lions, I went St Kilda. Yeah, so there you go. They're the games. You want to go through the games quickly, Liam?
All right. Tomorrow night, GMHBA Stadium, Geelong, Adelaide. Adelaide have a few really big outs. They've got Jordan Dawson out, Rory Laird out, Taylor Walker is out, and there's someone else as well.
Yeah,
I think that's enough to say that it's going to be a tough game for them, especially away from home. Geelong, get it done.
Yep. You can see our tips there. Keep going.
Geelong as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Geelong. I think down at Geelong and Adelaide were disappointing last year. It's like watching those two finals last year. The Bulldogs are a great team, but they needed to win that game over there.
And what a game. Just let's quietly say that was such
it was a cracking game for sure, yeah.
They are better than Collingwood. They did beat Collingwood earlier this season. But anyway, Collingwood are up next Friday night at Marvel Stadium against the Giants. I actually don't think the Giants are going to do that good this year, so I'm sticking with Collingwood for that one.
Yeah, you can see our tips there. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Collingwood. Collingwood, yeah. Next game?
Saturday, back at Marvel. There's so many games at Marvel. That's crazy.
Yeah,
but Saints and Brisbane, I think Brisbane just have to respond. I can't see them going from 2 premierships in a row to 0-3 to start a year. And Saints aren't that good. Brisbane will win.
I am thinking Brisbane will win too.
Yeah, I expect Brisbane to respond. They'd be disappointed with their start of the year. And they can't let teams like the Bulldogs, who have started the year really well, and Gold Coast and Sydney, they can't afford to let those teams get too far ahead of them. So I'd be thinking Brisbane would come out firing this week.
Well, the teams that are on the top 4 have actually got the bye this week. So enough to give the other team a chance.
No, it's all the top 4 teams. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they are too. Good pickup, man. You're doing some research there, man.
Look at it.
About time you contribute.
All right. Next game is my team's game over there in Perth against the Dockers. It's going to be a tough day out for us. Don't think we're getting close, unfortunately.
I think Freo, if you win this, could be one of your best wins in the last 2 years. If you can beat Freo over there,
could change the season around. Could change the season around for you, Liam, if you beat them.
Forget it.
So the next one is the big game. Oh, yeah, you'll think Freo too, of course. Yeah. So what the next game?
Yeah, the big game, the big Saturday night fixture, Essendon and North Melbourne. I will say with my tip on the screen, I put that in before I watched both the games, but I'm going to stick with it. I feel like Essendon just have to win. Even if it's just by a point, even if you still play trash, you just have to get a win here. So that's going to be my that's my upset tip for the week. I'm going to say
it's sold out, is it?
Sold out game.
Is it?
Yeah.
There you
sold
go.
Out. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, they've got the first 2 tiers open. They haven't worried about the third tier.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. What do you reckon, Jez? Who's going to take this?
I think Essendon are a chance. I think a club with their proud history and stuff and given them being bashed around everywhere. I think if the team doesn't come out and make a statement this week and actually win that game, I definitely feel that Scott's tenure is finished, and it's so important for that team. Just did they have to win it? Did they have to show, hey, we're in this together? It is the long haul. Might be the only win they might get for the year, but I think they just have to do it. They can't allow it to happen what happened the other week.
Yeah. Well, the next one is a big game for Jezza here. It's Port Adelaide.
Yeah. This is your game. Port Adelaide, West Coast. If it was back at Optus, I'd give you guys more of a chance. I don't think Port are that great. And they've lost their star player. They've lost Rosie, so
they've lost their star player. So obviously I'm going to tip my own team, but as far as in any tipping comps, I will be picking a couple of roughies before that, and that will all depend on whether I stick with them. I think we could be a chance because, like I said, I don't really rate Port very well this year. I don't think they've done anything in the off season to improve their game. And I think Kenny got the best as he could out of that team, and they haven't added to it, so I'm not sure how they're going to improve. So my early tip is the Eagles. If they play like they did on the weekend, I think we're a really good chance. We got some pretty good young players there that might cause a few issues for them.
Interesting. All right. I don't think so. I think Port Adelaide will win this because I think you're going to be hit and miss all year, but you're definitely on the improve. And the last game.
Yeah, the last game, Rocco. It's your game at the MCG. I will be there. And I actually reckon Melbourne are going to get you. I think they play better at the MCG. And I think the game style that they play is something that you guys struggle to defend. I reckon Melbourne will get over the top of you.
Well, I know, I can see your tip, but I disagree with you because I said we've beaten them the last 4 times. So, no, they don't play better than us at the G. The last 4 times we've actually beaten them at the G. So, your theory does not work. As far as your game plan goes, no, they have got a couple of quick players, but really they're rubbish outside of Gorn and that. But we're not any better, so there you go. You're going to be there. You're going to be there you're going to be there. Where are you going to be?
Level 2.
That's where I am. Level 2. Oh, look out for me.
Yeah.
P7.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty close to that.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple up, maybe 14, 15, but.
Well, that's just next to us. All right, cool. I'm going to come out and look out for you. All right, done. That's perfect. All right, well done. All right. We'll go to and here I've checked and double checked. This is the correct scores and the correct differences. All right. So as you can see, Liam's on 16, Manny on 15, Mark on 14, Rocco on 12. And there's the differences. So you're happy with that, Liam? I think that's right.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I'm on top. I'm going to screenshot that and save it forever. It might not happen again.
But there you go. There's a tipping board. I don't know what we're going to do. We are going to do something this year, aren't we? We're going to work it out. And everyone also make sure that, what are we? We're episode 92. In 8 episodes, we're going to do an in-studio show, and there'll be a challenge happening here too, won't there? So we'll work it out. All right. I think what everyone's waiting for. Oh, you're going to love this, Jezza. You're going to love this, mate. We're in for Have you seen this before, Jezza? The Minute of Madness?
Yes, I have watched one a few weeks ago, and I thought, geez, this is pretty good. I like the new innovations on the show, you know. You guys have improved the look of it all, you know. The original and the best Fourever Rivals as well.
I love it. I love it. And the graphics, thanks to the man, Bocek. He's the man. Post me nothing. Wake up, people. It doesn't. I'm telling you, Bocek is not a happy man about the Blues. But we have got the minute of madness. We'll start with the first one, which is Manny and Mark, is it?
Yeah.
All right, so they're going to do the first one, and I'll get the timer up. So it's about not. We've said the minute madness, but we've gone to about 90 seconds. So we'll go to 90 seconds, and let me just get it up once I find it. All right, I've got it. I don't even know who's asking who.
I'm asking.
You're asking Marco.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, get ready for this. Minute of madness starts now.
All right, Mark. How do you explain Essendon's not winning the final since 2004, despite being one of the AFL's biggest clubs?
I don't want to answer for too long, mate. Just maybe wrong, poor selections, recruiting selections.
All right. Did the fallout from the Essendon supplement saga permanently damage the club's culture?
Yes, it did.
Do Essendon fans put too much pressure on the young players because of the club's history and expectations?
Yes.
Why do Essendon lists often look promising on paper but fail to translate into consistent finals performance?
Belief. They're having a belief.
If Essendon doesn't win a final in the next few years, should the entire department walk away and start to rebuild again?
Yes.
Now, be honest. Who do you really think the next final win is coming?
Next year, 2027.
He's given up on this year. I love it.
How much patience do you still have left with the club?
Not much more patience.
Do you still trust Brad Scott?
No.
What's more stressful, watching the Essendon play or checking the ladder?
Watching Essendon play.
And which loss hurt you the most in recent years?
Last week's.
But you went for nearly 2 minutes. Good stuff. I'll let you go a bit because I really like the questions there. That was good. Good job. All right. So now I asked the questions, but we thought we're going to, let me just reset this. I'll ask the questions, but I thought, you know what? I'm not going to ask Liam. I'm going to ask Jezza the question. So you're up for the minute of madness, Jezza. Get ready for this.
This could be mad, all right. Thanks. Go ahead.
All right. Let's go. Let's start. Who is your favorite child?
Oh, Liam's my favorite son.
Very good.
You said
Very
me
good.
first, that counts. I'm telling you, Ned.
Is Liam a disappointment for following Richmond?
No, actually, I'm quite proud of him. He's the eldest standing. He's on 2 feet.
Oh, very good, very good. Least favorite player of all time?
Oh, for my own team or?
Your team, yes.
Jesus. I never really liked Matt Rosa.
Rosa?
He was a disappointment. Yeah.
Which rival team do you hate the most?
Probably Port Adelaide.
No,
definitely Port Adelaide.
But which rival out of us?
Out of Viga.
Carlton.
Nah, it's probably Essendon. Sorry, Mark. I know you've been confident tonight, mate.
Matty Lloyd, eh?
Yeah, I think that's what done it all right. And heard you going up and hugging the crowd as well.
Which is your favourite rival team?
Definitely have to be Richmond.
All right.
Because I can remember the 90s, Richmond was one of those teams that I hated us playing, and
well, is Cousin the greatest druggie to play AFL?
he's probably the highest profile one that's been.
He is. If West Coast left the AFL, would you support Freo?
Oh, Jesus. Unlikely.
No.
Nah.
Which Cox do you prefer, Mason or Dean?
Oh, Dean.
What would you do if your wife banned you from watching footy?
Jesus, I don't know, man. Move to Melbourne with Liam.
Which West Coast player would you have come work for you?
Oh, Nick Nat.
Nick Nat.
Yeah.
And would you favour him more than Liam?
Only on the footy field.
No, that's not right.
Would you miss your child's birth to watch a West Coasting grand final?
No.
Favourite West Coast player ever?
Nick Nat is definitely up there. Yeah,
All
he
right.
brought me the most excitement when we weren't going well.
All right.
That's
and then
time.
the last question, I know it's time, but I'm going to last question. Anniversary dinner with your wife or a dinner with Nat Nui in a box with him?
She's watching this, mate. So
I'm watching.
no, I'd have to go to anniversary, but I'd invite Nick along.
Yeah. We'll chat.
Invite him on.
We'll chat when she's not listening. All right, good stuff, good stuff. You done well there, mate. You done well. You done well. I reckon you lied about a couple of them, but you done well. You done
Yeah,
well.
probably. I have to live with these people, mate.
I know. That's why I put you under pressure. I love it. I love to see you squirm there. But
yeah.
I probably got you in trouble tonight, but that's all good. Hey, everyone's been waiting for this.
I actually thought Jezza made us laugh.
It did make
But
you
but I'll make you laugh. Now, I'm not sure whether I've told you this one. My memory may be. Anyway, if I have, it's a good one. I'll say it again and then we can move on. And I've got to check my book because I've got so many that I don't know whether I've said it. However, there was a flea, and this flea was working hard, really, really tired. So he decides to go on the holiday. So he goes to the travel agent. He says, listen, I've been working. I want to go somewhere where I can relax. He says, we've got a cancellation. He goes, you can go to the Caribbean islands, Ringo Starr's Head. He goes, fantastic. So anyway, goes to the Caribbean, comes back 2 days later and says to the travel agent, listen. He says, I'm a flea. I work hard. I want to work somewhere where I can enjoy myself. He says, Ringo Starr in a hotel all day, playing the drums, shaking his head. That's just no good for me. He says, let me have a look. He says, right. He says, I've got a late cancellation. He goes, the Greek islands in Omar Sharif's moustache. He says, all right, no worries. So anyway, he goes to Omar Sharif's. He comes back 3 days later. He says, mate, what are you doing? He says, I'm in a hotel. He's playing cards all day. He's smoking these pipes. He goes, I'm struggling to breathe. He goes, please. He goes, I want to go somewhere where I can relax and have a good time. He says, all right, no worries. He says, this one's going to cost you a little bit more. However, he says, I've got 5 days in the same island, Bridget Bardot's Fanny. He thought, beautiful. So anyway, the flea's gone there, and he's 3 days later, he comes back. He says to the travel agent says, what happened now? He says, listen. He goes, it was fantastic. She was lying on the beach. The music was playing. I was tucked away in her muff. It was beautiful. It was Nirvana. It was absolutely amazing. He says, well, what's the problem? He says, I don't know how I ended up in Omar Sharif's moustache.
Very good. I like that.
Jezza got it.
Liam got it. I don't think Liam got it.
No.
Well, do the people like it? Do the people like it? We got a few ha-has. No, I like it. Jezza, do a song. Oh, here you go. Jezza, do a Seinfeld quote.
Oh, geez. Seinfeld.
You've got
what have we got?
These pretzels.
Good one. Oh yeah, no soup for you.
No soup for you. That's the classic. All right. No soup for you. The soup Nazi. All right.
Ringo Starr was a drummer. Omar Sharif was an actor. And Bridget Bardot was also a famous actor. So It doesn't
I'd have
really
to
matter.
Google all of these
It
people.
doesn't matter.
No,
She
I
was
knew
in the
exactly.
muff. He ended up in the moustache. 1 + 1 = 2. Thank you very much.
Before we go, we have got a $5 donation loan with always a great supporter. Thank you very much. A bit late. Hey, Mark, since Scott seems to be on the out at Essendon, I hear Voss is free at year's end if he wants to coach Essendon. What do you reckon? Would you take Voss?
Got nothing else to lose. Why not?
You're going backwards,
Yeah,
mate.
you can do all right, mate. You do all right.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if they would do something stupid like that too. So, all right. It's been a big show, guys. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining everyone in the chat. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, do all that. Have I got one out there? No, I haven't. But we got all the shows this week, so make sure there will be a preview tomorrow. There's going to be Selection Blues on Friday, and then Sunday night you got the watch along with Bo. And then you got emergency meeting straight after that. So that's going to be interesting. Either win or lose. It's going to be a big, big fan can kind of show, that one there. And then Monday night, we got the new show, Level Up, with Mars and Jad, where they go through particular parts of the game and they dissect it and they go through. And then Tuesday, you got the big show. And then Monday night also, oh my God, how many shows we got? We got Blue Sunday, which is on a Monday with David Rees-Jones. He was a great player, wasn't he, Jez? David Rees-Jones.
Oh, he was a gun.
Tough.
He wouldn't be able to play today, but he was good in his era.
He wouldn't last long today. Yeah.
He wouldn't. He'd only get 1 week and then he'd be out for 5 or 6, and then he'd be back again.
Yeah, I think he was the most. Was he the most suspended? I think
Yeah, I think he might have been all right. Yeah.
I think he wore number 26. I think he got suspended. I think he got reported or suspended for 25 times, or reported 25 times. So that's a good record. Pretty good,
Oh,
man. You reckon he would have listened to the taunting rule?
Oh, jeez. I think if anyone touched him, they'd probably still be waking up.
So anyway,
again, different era, different kind of football. So.
And he's actually, when you hear him speak now, that they've all kind of calmed down a little bit. So I don't think, but he still believes, and you still need that toughness. You still need to be tough. You need to get out there, need to play for your teammates. So everyone, push the like, subscribe, share, do all that. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Hot pies. And
go the mighty Blues. See you guys.
Go the Dons.
Have a good week, guys. Rivals. See you, boys.
See you, buddy.
All right.
For him and himself and everybody around, 'cause he ain't got nobody.